Our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Hey, that's all.
Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, in freedom.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Have you subscribed? Yes, you. Have you subscribed? You. Yeah, before you go, click. It's free. Click. Just that's it. Have you subscribed? You're laughing. Have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, madam. Thank you so much. I can see you. I can see you. We have to get to 100,000 subscribers. This by the end of the year. How are we going to do that if you don't subscribe? Yes, you. Yes, you're about to click off. Why? Have you subscribed? It's free. If you don't, ask your son, ask your daughter how to. Just one click. Thank you. Thank you. I see you. Aha. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Hello, my people. LEMFI, the International Money Transfer Service, is here to provide you with a simple and efficient money transfer experience with no fees and the best rate in the industry. If you are in the US, UK, and Canada, LEMFI is here to serve you and help you transfer money to over 21 countries. In all ramifications, they are better than their competitors. We at the Dr. Damages Show are happy to partner with them to satisfy your needs. To that end, anyone who signs up with them using the referral code DOCTOR will get $30 cash back the first time you send $100 or more. From now until July 10th, 2024, LEMFI will enter your name into a raffle draw where you can win an iPhone, Apple Watch, MacBook, gift cards, and others. For an icing on the cake, the first 20 people to use Dr. Damages code DOCTOR will get a signed copy of one of his books, This American Life Safe or Chimamanda, The Adventures of Little Mermaid's African Cousin. Hello, my people. LEMFI, the International Money Transfer Service, is here to provide you with a simple and efficient money transfer experience.
And tonight, this gentleman will be making his network television debut. This is his most recent album right here. It's called Spirit of Love. We're very pleased to welcome Majek Feshek.
Arise from your sleep, Africa. Rise from your sleep, America. There's work to be done, Africa. There's work to be done, America. But if we unite, we will be free so long, too long. too long. Hey. Remember, long time ago, when we used to live like prince and princess. Remember, the pyramid of Egypt, when we used to live like prince and princess. Remember, Marcus Garvey, who are the dream for New America. Oh, remember, Martin Luther King, the dream for New America. They say you are black, they say you are brown, they say you are black, they say you are brown. Only the angels of Jah is white now. Only the angels of God is white. So long, too long, so long, too long. We've been sitting down so long. We've been a fool around for too long. Arise from your sleep, Africa. Arise from your sleep, America. There's work to be done, Africa. So much work to be done, America. But if we unite, hey, we will be free. So long, too long, so long, too long. Pressing down for so long.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your geographical location. Thanks for joining me this evening. I hope you've had a great week and a wonderful time with whatever you're doing. And though this bill has been withdrawn, according to information reaching me, it is still worth talking about to highlight respectfully the foolishness, respectfully with due respect to them, the foolishness that we see coming out from our lawmakers, like this uh, individual that commented here says that use your brains. I believe he's referring to them that they should use their brain. It is unfortunate that they don't, and I've always highlighted, and my argument has been that our lawmakers are the greatest threat what to democracy. When this subversion bill came to my attention, I mean, just like every other Nigerian, the question is this what is most important? Is this what Nigeria needs at this moment? Yes, it's an attempt for them to gag or to stop freedom of speech. The recent protests, none of them waded into it. None of them ever said, let's join and support the citizens. And not until we Nigerians, individuals, at home and abroad, rise up. Another aspect you can see from this bill is they withdrew it because they knew what the fallout that will come out of it if it has been passed or if it is passed. And that clearly, that's a clear indication that until we the people rise and use the power that we have in invoking Section 68 and 110 of the Constitution, we will continue to run in circles. In the next 10 to 20 years, it is highly possible. There's a possibility that uh, there will be no registered nurse or doctors in Nigeria with the way things are going. But they are not concerned. What they are concerned is to is to find those who do not read or sing the national anthem, those who deface public religious places. So one of the I really don't understand where these our lawmakers come from, but truly they came from us. And this is evident of us also, because when we come together, we are required to what? To find solution to what? To a problem. And rather than finding solution or agreeing on a solution, what do? We start to bash each other, Nigerian bashing each other. And so this is a great concern for us. And on this platform, we tend to prefer solution. And not only prefer solution, we want to see how we can actively also be part of that solution. Not just to promote it, but to bring it to be part of it actively, to bring it to pass. And so that is why we come here almost on a daily basis, weekends, to see how this message will get to Nigerians back at home. I was having a conversation today in respect to certain things in Nigeria when we were growing up. And my 10 years old son has never seen a stamp before. A stamp. Why? Because the post office are all gone. We don't have post office in Nigeria again. And it never occurred to me until the person raised it up that, you know, there's no post office in Nigeria again. Some of our children don't even know what a stamp looks like. They don't know what a stamp looks like. Even in this day of technology where everything is done or most things are done via electronically, they still have post office. Like today, I still went to the post office to post a letter. I had to buy a stamp, a pre-post envelope. Then I have to buy a stamp for other things I want to use because I don't want to use a prepaid envelope. So I can still stamp. And so, as I said, in the next 10 to 20 years, we may not have registered nurse or doctors in that country again. And this is not consigning to our lawmakers, but rather what concerns them or what they want to do is to put a gag on people, not to what? Not to protest. The issue of flags, sending people to prison or to pay 5.5 million naira for not respecting. And it's so crazy because these individuals are family members to us. We know them. Thank you, Black Hebrew, for this comment. Like I said, it's you're correct when you say uh, use your brains. It's not an insult because you must have seen something. We saw something before. We now come out to say people should use their brains as to what they actually thinking, what they want us to do, and if the protest or the last protest, to me, I wasn't against the protest, but to me, it's like we're backing against the wrong tree. So if the protest has focus on our legislators in our constituency, I personally believe that we're going to make a headway in this regard. Again, I would like to thank those of you who are joining us in the comment section. Madam Gladys Oyebo, thanks for joining us. Also, Black Hebrew, also thanks for joining us. I highlighted your comment earlier, and thanks for the link is there for those who wants to come and weigh in on this particular subject. Like we all know, the bill has been withdrawn, but however, it shouldn't stop us from talking about it. It highlights the way they think, what goes through their head, what they go to bed with, what they wake up with. It's all foolishness. If this bill had gone ahead, I already told myself I will find my way to Nigeria and I'm going to sing, whatever it is, I'm going to sing the old national anthem and not the new one. And I will see who is going to arrest me. Honestly speaking, that was my own take on this matter. That I will fly to Nigeria next month and I will see what will happen. I will sing the old national anthem. Let the sky fall. If this bill had gone ahead, it will be time for us, for parents, to tell their children not to sing the national anthem. Let's see how many children they will arrest, or their parents they will arrest and throw them into jail, or for them to pay 5 million. In the context of Nigeria, that people have not been able to get money to eat. If the bill had gone ahead, teachers will be told not to even tell the children to sing the national anthem. And let's see what will happen. How many people that means they have to build more prisons and throw people into it. This is the foolishness we experience or we see with our lawmakers. Again, with due respect to them. So, how long are we going to go through this foolishness of this our lawmakers? How long are we going to tolerate them? How long are we going to accommodate these ones that don't have any single iota of care, empathy for what? For the citizens. How long are we going to tolerate them? The solution is right in front of us. Recently, I received a lot of message about the constitution from somebody we all know. The constitution, we want to refurbish. They want to refurbish the 1963 constitution. If I'm correct with what I read, they want to refurbish the 1963 constitution. I say, really? You want to refurbish the 1963 constitution? How is that? How does that make sense to me? I really do not know. Is that our problem? What is wrong with the one we have at the moment? If you were here last week, Sunday, Mr. Ike, who asked me to read chapter 2 of the Constitution, Nigerian Constitution for him, clearly state that the Constitution is not our problem. It is the individual that are meant to implement the provisions in the Constitution that are the problem. So where are these individuals? They are the ones sitting down there telling us they want to pass a law. They want to pass a law whereby you will be fined if you sing the national anthem wrongly, or if you don't sing it, whatever it is. Uh, you also will be familiar with what is going on in recent the plane Nigeria. Let me see if I can. The plane, the presidential, the plane belonging to the government was seized somewhere in France, if I'm correct. That was seized somewhere in France. Yeah, it says he wants to revamping of the 1966 constitution, holds the keys to freeing Nigeria. MNR to President Tinubu. Only God knows who is that MNR. How would that free the 1960 Constitution. Mr. James, thanks for joining me this afternoon. How are you today?
Yeah, I think I'm all right. Good afternoon.
Gambia.
Yes, almost evening in the Gambia.
Oh, you're in Gambia, not Zambia. Apologies for that.
Yeah, the Gambia.
Yes, I'll come to Gambia and visit you. There are a lot of places I want to travel to, a lot of people
Okay.
I want to see one of these days. So, the subversion bill has been withdrawn according to information, but I still felt we should talk about it, given to what runs through the mind of these our lawmakers. Also, there is a case or an argument to revamping of the 1963 Constitution. The claim is that it holds the keys to free Nigeria. So, then also there's the issue of the presidential jet being seized in France. I can't find that one again. So, Mr. James, the floor is yours. If you weigh in, okay, please kindly weigh in on this issue. Thank you.
Yeah, these are non-issues actually confronting us in Nigeria because singing the national anthem, I don't see how, or refusal to sing the national anthem, I don't see how it amounts to subversion. It has been happening in other parts of the world to the best of my knowledge. And you don't force a people to be patriotic. You create an enabling environment that will make people to be patriotic. You don't force them. You get what I mean? Now, if I love Nigeria, it's just like a woman. If I'm in love with a woman, nobody forced me to love her. I must see something special in her that will make me develop that love for her. She cannot force me to love her. That is how the country is. Now, when you want to force people to sing national anthem, first of all, is that our problem? The answer is no. Singing of anthems is not our problem because legislators in the House of Assembly, in fact, this present House of Assembly is the most corrupt in the history of Nigeria. Somebody was analyzing it today, I think on Arise or Channels TV. It's the most corrupt. Yet they are the custodian of the national, what's it called, national anthem. Anyway, I'm also aware that there are some religious organizations that don't sing the national anthem as a matter of freedom of religion. I think the Jehovah's Witnesses, if I'm not mistaken, they don't sing the national anthem, they don't recite the national pledge, they don't salute the national flag. It's against their religion. So will you pour all Jehovah's Witnesses in Nigeria into jail because they refuse to sing the national anthem? The answer is no. And in other parts of the world too, they don't sing the national anthem. I do not know of any case of a Jehovah's Witness in any part of the world that has been sent to jail for not singing the national anthem. So I think the ruling class will have committed what I would call class suicide if they had passed that bill into law, because the resistance it will generate nationwide would have complicated the problems they're grappling with at the moment. Well, instead of thinking of national anthem wahala, what I thought they should have been worried about is the impending demonstration. There's still a demonstration in the offing, still in the pipeline. They are hoping to come out on October 1. What are they doing to talk these guys over to change their minds? Because the last demonstration, they were given 3 weeks notice. They wasted the 3 weeks was, squandered. And the demonstration took place for 10 consecutive days. And they are coming again in October. You've not made any attempt to talk to these boys reasonably. Instead, you want to arrest them. In fact, you are arresting them. After arresting them, you are telling them, please come out, let us discuss. While you are busy arresting them, you are freezing bank accounts. So you see that the government is not open to negotiation. It's not open to, it's not open to negotiation, let me put it that way. This is why the youth are very, very careful in their dealings with them. So that is how I see the issue of national anthem. National anthem is not our problem. To the best of my knowledge, even in the United States, I do not know of any case of anybody who has been reprimanded for such, should I call it a trivial offense? In fact, it's not an offense. You are only encouraged to be patriotic. You cannot be forced to be patriotic. Lack of patriotism is not a crime.
Thank you, Mr. James, for that. Yes, lack of patriotism is not a crime. And like you rightly said, uh, 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 you don't force people to be patriotic. You create that environment that will make them to be patriotic, and the environment does not exist in current Nigeria. But let's look at it in a way, hypothetically, if it has been passed. What do you think will happen?
Well, there are two possibilities. The first could be, how do I put it? People will just ignore it. They just ignore it as if it's a law that does not exist. And secondly, there are some youth in the country that will even volunteer to appear in public and refuse to sing it so that you send them to jail and make them, should I say, martyr. When Muslims died in the course of promoting their religion, they are martyred. They go to heaven to enjoy some benefits over there. So there are some boys who are ready to go to jail. They will volunteer. When they appear in public places, they even sing the now old national anthem, or they refuse to stand up. They just sit down so that they will be arrested, tried, and sent to jail. And they regard themselves as prisoners of conscience. And in future political dispensations, these guys could become heroes in the country. So that is how I see it.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. James. I'm just having a little bit of technical glitch there, but I'm sorting it out. Yeah, prisoners of conscience. Do we have prisoners of conscience at the moment in Nigeria? Are there people we can describe?
Oh yes.
Can you
These boys who were arrested during the, what's it called, a bad governance, demonstration. These are prisoners of conscience. They are locked up in cells and whatever it is because of their belief that the government is bad and the government should be changed. So they are prisoners of conscience. That is how I see them. Those who were locked up during NSAS movement, whom they are refusing to release up to now for exercising their constitutionally guaranteed right to protest, they've been locked up. These are prisoners of conscience. That is how I see it. In some countries, they persecute Christians or even people of other religion because of their faith. These are prisoners of conscience. So this is the category I'm grouping these guys. We have prisoners of conscience in Nigeria. When Showore was standing trial, for that period of time, he was standing trial and in detention. He was a prisoner of conscience.
Will you say Nnamdi Kanu also is a prisoner of conscience?
Well, that is a legal matter that's a matter the courts can decide, because the matter is in court, and because he's being charged with some offense. He's standing trial, let me put it that way. So it's a matter the court will decide. Some people will see him as a prisoner of conscience, some will see it as something else.
Mr. James, the question is, do you just describe Showore as prisoners of conscience? Does one have to be in prison before that person is considered as a prisoner of conscience?
No. Who is a prisoner? A prisoner is someone who is incarcerated after being found guilty in a court of law. That's who a prisoner is.
Who is a prisoner?
Now, there's another way of looking at it. In this country where I live here, there used to be a president called Yahya Jammeh. During his administration, this was the only country in the world people go to prison without passing through the courts. Presidential directive can send a man to prison during Yahya Jammeh's time. That's how it was here in this country. So should one, in fact, to become a prisoner, you must pass through a magistrate or a judge in a court before you go to prison. But the conditions in the prison and the condition of those who are incarcerated without passing through the courts is one and the same thing. So anybody in detention, particularly illegal detention, is a prisoner of conscience.
Thank you, Mr. James. So, in other words, I'm not putting words in your mouth. You
Get
don't
out of this
see
country on a
there's a noise coming from. In other words, I'm not putting words in your mouth. You don't see Nnamdi Kanu as a prisoner of conscience.
Well, I said, please give me
your opinion.
A few seconds. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is, I cannot comment on that because the matter is already in court. Because if somebody is standing trial in court, particularly a person versus the state, it means the person has committed some offense or atrocities against the state. So it is the state that will decide if he has committed an offense or not. But the state is the prosecutor, is it the prosecutor? Yes, is finding it difficult to prove his case. So this is why this guy is generating so much sympathy from members of the public. So if at the end of the day, he ends up like Showore, they say, we have no case against you. Then of course, for the period they spent there, he was a prisoner of conscience.
Thank you. I'm just trying to highlight the definition for our viewers, what a prisoner of conscience is, which is a person who has been put in prison for holding political or religious views that are not tolerated in the state in which they live. So if we go by this definition of who a prisoner of conscience is, we can say Nnamdi Kanu is also what? A prisoner of conscience, because he's holding a political view that is not tolerated by the federal government of Nigeria.
No, there's another way of looking at it. They are accusing him of secession. And going by the laws of Nigeria, secession is a crime. Just like somebody who wants to topple a government by military force. These are crimes against the state. So this is not a matter we can just decide. I mean, we can just say yes or no. But one thing is certain, I should not be misunderstood. I have deep sympathy for him because of what is going through, the history of the country, and the way the country is being organized. I have sympathy for him. He was pushed to the wall, and that's made him to do what he actually, that is what propelled him to be doing what he is doing at the moment. So I should not be misunderstood. But the issue is that he's standing trial. You get what I mean? Somebody like Chief Obafemi Awolowo, you remember? He was sent to prison during the First Republic. Was he a prisoner of conscience or not? The government that sent him to prison in those days did not see him as a prisoner of conscience. They felt that he has violated the laws of the land. But other people might look at it from another perspective. That is how I see it.
Okay. Let's go to the presidential jets currently seized in France by the Chinese government, if I'm correct. And let's compare it or look at it with the proposal. Maybe it's been bought, the new presidential jet. So if we are owing either France or China, they said it's Ogun State government. I don't know if that is, I don't know how accurate that is. What is the need for us to now the government wants to buy a government or presidential jet when we are owing in respect to the ones in France?
No, the issue is this. Who is buying the jets? It's the federal government of Nigeria. And who is owing who is Ogun State government. in our internal affairs here in Nigeria, the activities of the state is not the same as that of the government. It's a federal state. So Ogun is a Ogun is just, it's a semi-autonomous, region inside the country. That's how I say it in a federal republic. That is in our internal affairs. But the issue again is this. We do not know the details, the nitty-gritties of this agreement they had with the Chinese people. And why they went to France to effect to get the court judgment they have got. One thing is certain. The Chinese people, they are aggrieved. Is it the company or whatever it is, they are aggrieved. There's a likelihood, I'm not very certain, there's a likelihood that we've played them some funny games. We behave in a funny way, what the Yorubas will call GPT. We must have done what we are not expected to do with them, and that is what propelled them to take the action against us. Now, when you are dealing with, in their dealings with, you see, I cannot really comment on this issue because probably, I'm just guessing, the federal government was linked somehow when the Ogun State government was having dealings with the Chinese. I don't know the full details of the whole story, but it is the duty of the federal government to make sure that state governors or state governments behave responsibly in their dealings with the outside world. Because the states, the activities of the state, sorry, the activities of the federal government should supersede that of the states as far as dealings with the outside world is concerned. Or let me put it in another way. The federal government should have the monopoly of dealing with outside countries. Whatever a state want to do with other countries, they should channel their requests or their deeds through the federal government. For example, if, let's say, Ogun State want to enter an agreement with, let's say, a country like the Gambia or Ghana, it is out of place for Ogun State government officials to enter the plane and fly straight to Accra or Banjul to sign agreements with foreign countries without involving the federal government. And I'm sure when state governors want to obtain loan from international monetary institutions, the federal government is always in the picture. So I do not know if that is the same thing with business transactions between the states and outside powers. Somehow, the federal government should put their house in order. And secondly, it does not pay to be a reputed crook as a country. This is you see, these are things we, the nationals, are suffering in other parts of the world whenever we travel with our passports. Just because you are a Nigerian, they treat you differently. Now, they are taking such harsh measures against the federal government because it is Nigerian that is involved. Will they do that to, an American, what we call, can they do that to the United States? Can they do that to Britain? Can they do that to France? Can they do it to Russia, Australia, New Zealand, Japan? It is the way we presented ourselves to the world. That is why they're taking us for a ride. That is how I see it.
So invariably, sorry, go ahead, Mr. James. Go ahead.
I will never blame the Chinese for whatever they are doing because they are aggrieved. And this seems to be the only way to get what they want from Nigeria. Nigeria must have played a fast one on them. Sorry, not Nigeria, Ogun State must have played a fast one on them. So the best thing is to use all available tactics or tricks to get what they feel they deserve from Nigeria.
Should that not be what the lawmakers, our lawmakers, are supposed to focus on, rather than this, again, respectfully, and the foolishness of this subversion law that they came up with?
Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, they are lawmakers. They make laws. They don't enforce laws.
Yeah.
The federal government enforce laws. The judiciary interpret the laws. So this is a duty for the federal government, not for, I don't know.
But they carry out oversight on the executive.
Yeah, even the judiciary also carry out oversight on the executive in interpreting laws.
So we're supposed to carry out this oversight in respect to these deal. Let me highlight a comment here. Now, the comment I'm about to light, it's not highlight. It's not. There is no. We've not verified it. I've not verified it. It's just for the purpose of our discussion, and the platform is not making claim to this comment. Here, this individual said Nigerian government was a shorty for the loan taken by Ogun State. Like I said again, for the record, there's this comment or this claim has not been verified. It's just for the purpose of argument. So let's go by this argument. A loan was taken. Nigerian government is a shorty of it. Like you rightly said, they are linking it one way or the other. Who carries out oversight? Is it not the lawmakers that carries out oversight? On the executives?
Look, there was a case here in the Gambia in the past. A certain lawyer stood shorty for a certain white man who committed some offense. And the white man jumped bail and ran out of the country. The lawyer was arraigned before a magistrate and sent to prison. That happened in this country. So if the federal government stood shorty for Ogun State, and Ogun State is unable to fulfill a side of the agreement, the federal government should live up to expectation. We don't stand. We don't sign shorties for people just for the sake of, just for fun. There are responsibilities that goes with it. So if Ogun State is defaulting, it is the federal government that should act as an oversight over Ogun State. This has nothing to do with lawmaking. The laws governing these things are already in place. If we want to change the laws, that's a different matter. Then we can go to the legislature. Because if the legislature should interfere, it will seem as if they are poking their nose into executive duties or functions. So I do not know if the federal government actually stood shorty for Ogun State. But if that is the case, then the Chinese people, they are doing the right thing. Right? Look at it this way. If let's say Mr. X committed an offense and I stood shorty for him in the sum of maybe 1 million naira. Now, the man, instead of being locked in prison custody, because there's a difference between police custody and prison custody. If he's been locked in prison custody, because I've signed for him, he will be released. That does not mean that I will pay 1 million naira immediately. But should he violate the conditions of the bail, let's say by absconding or refusing to appear in court, government can come for me to cough out 1 million for the violation of the bail conditions. But that does not exonerate him from the charge he's facing in court. Whenever he's apprehended, I will pay that money and he will also go to court. Then he will be given stiffer bail conditions or he will be denied bail. I think that is how it works. I'm not a lawyer. But if the federal government stood shorty for Ogun State, it's a very simple and straightforward matter. The federal government should either pay what Ogun State is owing the company or they seize federal government assets. So the Chinese are acting within the confines of international law.
Thank you, Mr. James. Earlier before you joined, I started by highlighting I said in the next 10 to 20 years, possibly, that we will not have registered nurses or doctors in Nigeria with the way things are going, with the way Nigerians are living the country. So, in the next 20 years, hypothetically, if we no longer have registered nurses or enough registered nurses, and doctors, what do you think it's going to be like?
But I'm a bit surprised that you are singling out the nurses and the doctors. What about the other professions?
The nurses and the doctors are the one mostly sought after by foreign countries. We also know the engineers are sought after in Australia, if I'm correct. But
that's what you know. Because I left the country almost 40 years ago. I'm lecturing outside the country. I'm supposed to lecture in the country. You get what I mean? Now,
Yeah, I get
the teachers are all leaving. Go to most Anglophone African countries. There's any, you cannot, I mean, I don't think there's any, you don't find a sizable number of Nigerian teachers in their secondary school, primary school, nursery school. Even here in Gambia, some have opened their private schools at very low level, primary school level and nursery school level. So it's all the professions that are trooping out of the country. It's not only the nurses and the doctors.
so.
And
In the
one
next
thing is
20.
certain,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
you cannot restrict people. You cannot restrain people from traveling because
Correct.
it's a fundamental right. There's freedom of movement
Yeah,
guaranteed by the
but Mr. James,
Constitution.
sorry for interjecting you. Yes, we cannot, but in the context of Nigeria, in the context, because I can argue that most Nigerians will want to be back at home if things were. There's no way you will be in Gambia for how many years now if the situation has changed in Nigeria. You would love to go back home.
So
So
I might not
yes,
be able. No, I might not be able to return home because of my commitments outside the country.
outside the country. Okay.
My
All right.
commitment, you know what I mean? Family commitment, another thing. I might not be in a
Yeah.
position. Maybe you don't know.
return back
Maybe I have investments here. You don't know.
I don't
Maybe
know.
I've
I don't know, Mr. James.
maybe I've built a house here or in South Africa or Israel. You don't know. So
Or you have a Gambian wife that will refuse you to go and threaten you
okay,
that if you go, she's gonna divorce.
okay. So
you
you see
lose
those kind of
everything.
things. Good. So
All right, the floor is back to you in respect to our professionals living en masse in the next 20 years. What will it
no,
be like?
no. Well, it will get worse from the look of things. And another thing again is this: the state of our universities is not what it used to be. Most of these guys who are leaving the country, they are the experienced old men who passed out of universities 20, 30 years ago. Now, with the wishy-washy universities we have now, will they be able to produce quality graduates that will be in demand in the countries of the world? I am in doubt. I'm in doubt because occasionally I run into some of them, not all of them, I must admit, some of them who really don't know their left from their right. So if the condition continues, we will have a lot of wishy-washy graduates in the country. Again, if we produce wishy-washy graduates in the country, they will learn on the job outside universities. As they continue to practice, maybe for 20, 30 years, they become experienced. Maybe their experience will be able to take them out of the country, not necessarily their academic qualifications. So, but the situation will get worse. There's no doubt about that.
Before I go to Madam Gladys, welcome. Before I go to Mr. James, the situation will get worse. The question now is, what do we do? What can we do?
We need a new political dispensation. This
How
present
can we
political
achieve that?
I always say it on this platform, this Dr. Damage's platform, I believe, on this platform and other platforms. There can never be a change in Nigeria without a revolution. Sadly, not all revolutions bring about the desired changes. But for Nigerian society to be on course once again, it must be through a revolutionary government. 2027 is another scam in the waiting. Don't expect anything good out of that election that you are thinking about. So it's a revolutionary government that will change the country.
Mr. James, please stay there. I need to take you on this 2027 election. Mrs. Gladys, welcome. Madam Gladys, welcome to the show. I will give this
Thank you
floor to
so
you, but
much.
we just need to take a short break. Mr. James, that 2027 is very important. Just stay there, Madam Gladys. I will be back in a short while, please. We just take a short break. Thank you.
Okay.
Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland. We love and strength and faith.
in freedom, peace and unity. Hey, that's all.
Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria call obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, in freedom, in freedom, peace and unity.
Arise, my people, arise, my
With love and strength and faith.
with all our hearts and minds we I'm about to go be down to them. Somebody to let
I've just seen, I ran into a news just now. 20
Right.
Nigerian medical students, 20 Nigerian medical students have been kidnapped in Benue State.
Okay.
Maybe it's still news, I don't know, but I'm just seeing it now. 20.
Whether it is stale or not, it is news. It is not an old news. I don't think so. If
Yes,
any of our viewers are out there,
medical and dental students. Medical and dental students.
dental
20 of them
have been
are in
kidnapped.
captivity
Can any
in
of our
Benue State.
viewers please kindly check that for us if you can? But Mr. James, I'll come back to you and this other Madam Gladys. The floor is up to you. The floor is to you in respect to what we are discussing right now. I don't know if you were listening from the beginning. Yeah, you were, because you started in the comment section, so you must have heard that. So the floor is yours. Thank you.
My dear, the situation where you asked, is it something to do with the people who have refused to recite the national anthem, or
Yeah,
where?
the bill has been withdrawn, but we are just highlighting the way our lawmakers think, rather than them to focus on people-oriented bill. They are focusing on a bill that is against the people freedom of speech. So they've withdrawn it, just for the record, but I think it's worth still talking about it. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, because I read it, I saw it, I said there are other issues for them to talk about and get sorted out. They're not even discussing that. The situation where the populace went on 10 days protest has not fully been addressed, despite the fact that the president has promised a lot of things to get things going. But there are a lot of issues that need to be sorted out. Like I heard him when he said a lot of people are leaving Nigeria, they're going to other countries to seek for jobs and other things. If one has such an opportunity to move out, there's no reason why such a person should be asked to stay because he or she is a good Nigerian. Because the situation where people are paid salaries that do not even cannot be assessed to what they have to spend in a month. I cannot imagine that my sister traveled to Abuja with her son. How much they spent to go by air is something else. It wasn't like that many years back. Things were not as difficult as that. Why is it so? Why can we not address the issue of how we can get things sorted out in our beloved country? Instead of trying to say, why are people leaving? People will surely leave. Even those who are actually the ruling people, most of their kids are schooling here in abroad and they live better life, better lifestyle. They drive fine cars, they live in houses. Some of the houses, no one is even staying in such houses. They just buy them and keep them. So there are a lot of issues to be sorted out. Maybe someone who is a teacher, how much is a teacher paid? Maybe at the primary school level. See someone who is teaching at the primary school level. What is the person's take-home salary at the end of the month? And such a person is expected to pay for electricity bill that you pay for, that you don't have light. Most times they don't have light. Then you talk of the kidnapping. People are busy kidnapping. Who are these kidnappers? And who are the people sponsoring them? Most of these people who are involved in such trade, most of them are graduates because they have nothing else to do. These are issues that be sorted out because people are hungry and they need help. What is the way forward to make sure that even our hospitals, you go to our hospitals, nothing seems to be working. But these people, when they are down, they come to abroad to get treated. Is it not the same blood running in our veins? So I see that nothing seems to be working. That's just the way I look at it. I just feel for Nigerians. I don't know. I'm a Nigerian, but the way things are going, it is not going out well. I pray that they should sit down, whether the National Assembly or whichever group, or is it the representative or whatever it is, they should sit down and map out the best way to get things going and working. Not They can start from both the local government areas down to the states, then to the federal level. Most state levels, if you ask the federal government, they'll say, we have given your allocation to your state government. And then you get back to the state government level, nothing is going on there. So the situation is such that a lot need to be sorted out, not looking for those who are reciting the national anthem and those who are not up to. A hungry person can stand to recite the national anthem. That's my take. I feel that
Thank
things
you
should
very
be
much.
sorted out. Yes, things should be
Thank
put. A
you.
bill should be passed. What are we going to do to put our country back in shape so that things can work out well for us? Not unnecessary bills that we do not need. And the lawmakers, all the expenses they spend on them, they should cut down on them. They should cut down on most of those expenses. They pay for this, they pay for that. When the populace are suffering, it's getting out of hand.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Mr. James, yeah, thank you. A thought came to me and just disappeared again for Mr. James. But let's go back to, the thought is back again. Thank you. Mr. James, do you think we are focusing too much on the federal government rather than to focus on the state government?
No, we are not focusing enough on the federal
Enough.
government. Yes, the reason is this. You know, the country is controlled by macroeconomic policies. Macroeconomic policies. Now, for example, the exchange rate of the country, it is the federal government, not the state government policies, that determines the exchange rate of the country. Import duties, it is the federal government policies that determines these things. So no matter how much you give the states, if the value of the money, the currency is useless, the states cannot do much. So it is the federal government policies that is trickling down to the state levels. I'm not surprised that Mr. Tinubu's government is shifting most of the responsibilities to the local government because they feel that the heat on them is just getting too much. So they need to devise a strategy to ease tension by pushing the problems to the local government and state government. Because the cry these days for state government to live up to their expectation is becoming, how do I put it? I mean, it's given undue attention by most people in the country. It is the federal government that determines how much they get. I mean, so the federal allocation to states, no, let me put it this way. The national income that goes to the federal government outweigh that of any individual state. So the federal government should carry most of the blame, not the states. I'm not exonerating the states or local governments because I believe they are all birds of a feather.
Thank you, Mr. James. 2027. You said, which I agree with you. There's a way you put it.
I said it's a scam in the waiting. A scam in
It's
the
a scam
pipeline.
in the waiting. Thank you very much. It's a scam in the pipeline. In fact, is it a scam? I don't think. I think it's a reality. So just like the 2023 election, it's a scam. This is it. Uh, you see, we're looking for solution, and it appears or it seems that it's nowhere to be found, no light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm really scared of 2027. Why am I scared? Prior to there is a school back in Nigeria, I know. Uh, Prior to them vacating, prior to them getting resuming third term session, the school increased the school fees before before third term. Now they're on holiday. The school increased the school fees again before they will resume in September. But here's my worries. The school gave reason due to economic situation in the country, so they had to increase school fees twice in a year. What would 2027 looks like if things remain the same in other sectors as well too?
The situation will remain bleak. There's not going to be any progress. Now, if schools are increasing what's called the school fees or tuition fees or whatever it is, you cannot blame them. Because for a school to retain their teachers, the teachers must be well looked after. The facilities the school is providing the children, these facilities cost money. So they cannot go and steal or pluck money from trees to look after the children in the school. So the school fees has to go up. It's not the fault of the schools per se. Now, 2027, I've never had confidence in elections in the country. I remember these last 2023 elections, myself, OV, and others on Symphony TV, I've always advocated that the elections should be cancelled or withheld till the country is properly fixed before we go in for election, because it's going to be a scam. I was even thinking that the country could slide into a civil war, but somehow, luckily, we did not find ourselves in that situation. You see, all the problems we encountered in 2023, have we addressed any to make 2027 election different from that of 23? The answer is no. The glitch that happened at is it INEC? What is the guarantee that something greater than that will not happen in 2027? Nobody is talking about it. Have we put new measures in place? Corruption is still on the increase. Dishonesty and all sorts of vices are still pervading the country. Nobody is, thinking of improving situations. Yet we are talking of 2027. And sadly, a governor recently came out to announce that he's running in 2027, despite the monumental problems we are grappling with. That was in the midst of the riot for good governance. A governor had the effrontery to come out to say that he's going to contest the 2027 elections. So nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. So as people always say, we cannot expect something good from repeating the same thing over and over again. Sorry, we cannot be repeating the same thing over and over again and expect to get a different result or a new result. So that is how I see 2027. It's a scam.
Madam Gladys, Mr. James said it's a scam. I see it beyond a scam. However, you are a woman, a mother, and how do you see 2027? Because again, I was talking to my opposite neighbor, asking me, "How are you? How is everything?" I said, "Everything is not fine here because the situation in Nigeria is also affecting us here." like what Mr. James rightly said, the federal government is responsible in controlling or managing foreign exchange, forex, and the higher it goes, the more it's on us to send home. So, for example, you used to send $10 before. Because of the situation back in Nigeria, you now be sending $20 or $40, putting pressure on you over here. What can we, the diasporans, do to see how we can effect a change in the political arena of the country? Because it's not about just sending money. How long are we going to send this money? What can we do? Because how can we get this message to Nigerians, like what Mr. James said, that will start this revolution? The floor is yours, please.
Thank you so much. The people in diaspora, most of us, to be honest with you, most of them, they concentrate on their families and things to do with themselves the moment they are here, because the basic amenities that are needed to keep life going, most of them have it. But how can we just sit back and our people are in Nigeria, they are going through pains? How can we come together in our different countries, whether in Europe or wherever we are, and then we'll try to put things in shape order by making sure that our government, especially those that steal money and come to lodge them in banks here in abroad, most of our monies are still outside the country, and we cannot hide this from each other. A lot of these people are related to most of us because they make life comfortable for us. We do not seem to care for others. We do not mind to say people can eat from anywhere, that life is still comfortable. Life is not really comfortable in Nigeria. The only way the people in diaspora can help is how can we form ourselves into formidable groups, whether you're in Canada or US or you're in UK or you're in France or wherever you are. If we can have good leaders, irrespective of your background, because the problem we are facing now is that the moment we begin to do things, we do it according to the basis of religion. That's what is actually separating most of us. I'm a Muslim, I'm this, I'm that. They don't do things because they want to do it to please themselves and to please God. If you have the fear of God, the money you are accumulating and the things are you taking, where are you taking them to? And most times, some of this so-called accumulated wealth, the people you leave them behind for when such people are gone, they don't even manage them. Within 2, 3, 4 years or 5 years after, you see them, they go down the drain. Look at the number of rich or multi-billionaires we had in Nigeria about 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Do you see hear about them? Because their children, they left such things for, or maybe their siblings or family members, they didn't manage them well. Not that we don't have enough things that we cannot manage well. Who are these people who are going to lead us? And if I have to refer back to what I saw in the north during the 10 days protest, I don't know how the next one is going to, what it is going to look like. Because in the past, the northerners were never used to complaining. I'm telling you the truth. I schooled in the north. I schooled in Meduguri, I schooled in Zaria, and I schooled in Kaduna. They used to have so much respect for their leaders. They never complained, and then they had to hide it and believe that the problems that they had in the country was being caused by a certain group of people in the country. But now, even the people, northerners in abroad here, they are complaining bitterly now. And if there's a situation where people can come together, I don't know who is going to help us to organize such that Nigerians in diaspora can come under the umbrella of those who are seeking for good governance in the country. It's possible if they decide to do it. We saw what happened to the man who passed on in prison in Russia. He was staying outside and then he decided to go back to Russia. And people told him, don't go back. But he decided to go back, and we saw how he was locked up in cell and he passed on in cell. But most of them are still outside the country, still agitating for the best. We can never know how far they are going. But Nigerians, when are we going to take up such a stand to be able to defend our beautiful country? Running away will not save us. Eventually, we'll all come back to Nigeria. We're all coming back to Nigeria. We are coming back. There's no how that we just stay abroad. Abroad is just, yes, you stay, but eventually you have to go back to your country. So who are the people going to start it? Is it the youths? Or is it the elderly ones? Or is it the women? Who are those going to help us to form formidable groups that can help us come together, arrange things, and then tell the government that enough is enough? If they do such, it will work out perfectly well because they are outside the country. Nothing will prevent them from having meetings or coming together to arrange such things. If we do not push it to the such background to say, I'm actually talking about my religion or I'm talking about where I come from, it has passed that level. It is no more such that we say it's okay. This something that is affecting us is only affecting a particular group of persons in the country. It's affecting all of us. The nose is crying. The eyes also is crying. The nose is running because people are hungry. A hungry man or an angry person, you cannot calm the person down. So I wonder what the next situation will look like, except if there's a situation where those who are in diaspora can come up quickly and begin to arrange things on the way forward for the country. I don't see where such a thing can happen in the country. Because if you open up your mouth to talk, before you know, you're thrown into jail or they'll send higher killers after you. People are even afraid to get into the country. So that's just my expression. Who is
Yeah,
going to lead us? Who is going to bail the cat out?
we should be. May I comment, please?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. James.
Yeah, we should be a little bit careful because those in Nigeria, they are looking up to us. They look up to us. I mean, should I say? I mean, we are not in a position to solve our problems for one reason. Different countries have got different laws. In most of the countries I've been to, they have what they call subversion law. We are not allowed as non-indigenous to be involved in activities they consider to be subversive activities against the government of our country or the host government. If, for example, I'm conniving with people in the USA or Russia or wherever it is to do things against the interest of the government of Nigeria, in this country where I live, that is subversion. They don't tolerate it. So this is one thing we should also have clear in mind. When you're saying people should come together to work together and things like that, we must not do anything that is against the interest of the government of Nigeria. And there is difference between those in power and the government of Nigeria. But in a situation of this nature, the line is very, very blurred. If you are doing things to hurt the ruling class, they can tell the government of the UK that you are involved in subversive activities against the state of Nigeria because it's affecting their personal interest. So this is one serious limitation we have got. The UK government, US government, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, they might be very liberal. They might understand these things very well. But most African countries do not see it that way because they enjoy a lot of goodies. They trade favors with the government of Nigeria, particularly when it comes to crude oil allocation to states. They just give it to them, use it to develop your country. I mean, I'm not referring to the Gambia. This is just a hypothetical situation. Country X, we are giving you 20 million barrels of crude oil, sell it and use it to organize your state. The rulers in that state sell it and pocket the money. So their interest and that of the ruling class in Nigeria, they tally. So when you are doing anything against the interest of the ruling class of Nigeria, be ready for, you might be deported, you might be locked up. So that is one thing we must bear in mind. When we are yielding or listening to the call of those at home that we in the diaspora should do something to come to their rescue. Then secondly, okay, now you were saying something about the North, that they were not complaining too much and things like that. If you look at this demonstration that has just taken place, I remember when they issued the warning, when they give them 3 weeks warning that they want to demonstrate, some prominent Northerners came out in support of it. But somewhere along the line, they all fizzled out. They disappeared completely before the demonstration started. And from what we saw in the North, a lot of children poured out. Who instigated those children to come out? Because those children do not know the political implications of what they are doing. So they have leaders in the North working underground to infuse ideas into these children. Look at those flags they were waving, Russian flags. Who bought the cloth? Who organized it? How were they able to contract the tailor? They found it, I think, in Katsina, Kano or Kaduna State, two or three states. How were the flags able to So something is going on behind the scene in the North. Whereas in the South, some guys are brave enough to come out to say, we are the leader. Showore said is the leader. Somebody wrote a letter to Wike in Abuja that they want to use Eagle Square. They're able to come out, put a face to what they are doing. But in the North, they also have their own leaders as well. And don't be surprised with the moves the federal government is taking right now. Come October 1, it should not be a surprise to you that the North might not participate if they're able to settle their political leaders behind the scene.
So, Mr. James, this
Yes.
is an interesting path you've just taken us. It is interesting. And when you were talking about the flying the Russian flag and how it came about, I was thinking, is there going to be a breakaway? And the North will be, the North will break away and be controlled by Russia. This is just in my head, okay?
No. You see, the Russian government is too smart. The Russian government is too smart for this kind of thing.
Okay, go ahead.
The Russian government is too smart for this kind of things. These are local politics we are just playing. I want to believe the Russian government could, I'm not very sure, they could be aware that this kind of things, because they have their spies in the country too. But they will not be able to, they are not bold enough to go underground to be involved in these petty things they are doing. I don't think, anyway, I don't see it as such. Now, the issue of breaking the country, if the idea is to come up at all, they should break the country, so that is to balkanize the country. The Northerners seem to be against it for a number of reasons. Number one, they will be perfectly landlocked. That's number one. Then number two, the crude oil in the South, which everybody is feasting on, will no longer be available to them. So to them, the issue of breaking up the country is not on the agenda at all. They are just squeezing this present government to give them more opportunities, like appointments, ambassadorial, positions, crude oil allocations. And, this is a war between the ruling class we are facing in Nigeria, just like the war between Obasanjo and Atiku. When Obasanjo was fighting with Atiku, fighting in quote, while they were fighting, a lot of things came to light. How money was being wired to the US and corruption deals and things like that. And that made Obasanjo to open up. If they had not quarreled, those things we knew about them would not have come to limelight. So the same thing is also happening now. Dangote is saying, in fact, Dangote is protesting. Let me put it that way, he's protesting. Now, for members of for a member of the ruling class to be doing what this guy is doing, it means they are quarreling. Because you see, one thing I noticed in Nigeria is this. You will never hear the Obong of Calabar quarreling with Alaafin of Oyo, or Atiku quarreling with Oni of Ife, or Oni of Ife quarreling with Awujale of Ijebu land. The ruling class, they don't quarrel with each other. When they are meeting in the State House in Aso Rock, in fact, you will never know that these guys are meeting. You get the point I'm making? But when they have quarrels among themselves, which are unable to resolve, and I think this is the second or third time we are noticing it now, Obasanjo versus Atiku, Abiola versus Babangida, and these Tinubu's government. These are instances of quarrels among them in the quarrels among the ruling class that is coming to public attention. And the kind of things they mention, they are very frightening. What you can never imagine is taking place. These are the things they talk about, like the refinery in the Mediterranean island of Malta. Whoever knew in this country that public officers in Nigeria are running a refinery in Malta, while 4 refineries in Nigeria are not working?
Mr.
He's
James,
a
that is
member of
very
the ruling
scary.
class.
That
Yes,
is
he's a member
very,
of the ruling
very
class. A member of
scary.
the ruling class who mentioned it, and that's Dangote himself mentioned it. So how do we, I mean, how do we handle the problems of Nigeria when this kind of things are happening? And look at this present state, I mean, what's called House of Assembly, both the Senate and representatives. The salaries they are earning is very frightening. Even if God should even see it, I mean, God will be frightened. Let me put it that way. Because, there's a verse in the Bible which says the Lord wept. There's a cartoon I saw somewhere. Yes, I think, is it not John chapter 11? John chapter 11,
I don't know
verse
the
33.
exact.
Jesus
It
wept.
was it was
It's the
in the
shortest
case of
verse in the Bible.
Lazarus. Yeah.
Yes, it's the shortest verse in the Bible.
Yeah, Jesus wept. I think it's
Good.
John 11. You're
Now,
right, Mr. J. I think so.
Yeah, John 11, 33 or something like that. Good. Now, the issue is this. When the Lord saw the quality of my work, he nodded his head in satisfaction. But when he saw my pay slip, he bowed his head and wept. This is the situation of Nigeria. You understand? When the Lord saw the quality of my work, he nodded his head in satisfaction. But when he saw my pay slip, he bowed his head and wept. You understand me? So this is the situation people have in Nigeria. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's John chapter 11, verse 33 or something like that.
I will look for it. I think it's John, but I'm not sure exactly. It was his
Yeah,
visit
just
to
type,
the tomb of. I'm just
yeah,
typing.
just type,
Mr. John,
no,
Mr.
the
John
Lord wept.
welcome. Yeah, I'll type it out. Mr. John,
Jesus wept.
my grad is before I come to you. I'll type it, Mr. James. I'll bring it up. Mr. John Abba, welcome for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank
I'm
you,
not
sir.
sure if you have been following the podcast from the beginning.
Partially.
Okay. Thank God partially today, because most of the time when you come on, you say, "What is the topic, Mr. John?" John Abba, the floor is yours. So you saved me a lot of stress. Go ahead, the floor is all yours.
I want to put my big brother in on the spot, and I'm talking about brother James, because
Oh,
one aspect of,
good evening.
yeah, good evening, sir. One of the things I love about him is his history, but I have a question for him uh, before we go into our own, because I was feeling like I don't want to, I don't know. I'm trying to choose my word carefully, but I don't think I can run away from what I want to say.
Okay.
I want to know why he's always upset because I love him as a person, and I love his history background, and I love what he brings to the table. Why do there's a guy that came on, it's Jamaica, he says, and why do you always get so much upset when you see other non-Nigerian talk about Nigeria? Because I learned one thing as I'm growing up, that when you love people, you protect their interests. Not that you cannot tell them the truth, but because you know that they can be better. Why do you really get upset? Because you did it with another guy from, whether it's from Liberia or not, you get upset with him. Now this is a guy from Jamaica but live in New York, and you talk the other, you get so much upset about him. And I believe that Nigerian problem cannot just be solved by only Nigerian, but people that love Nigeria. Why?
Yeah,
I'm
thank you
sorry,
for.
electricity is all joined because it's still
Yeah,
on this
that's it.
platform.
It's all together. Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you very much for raising the issue. I've said it on this platform a number of times. I left Nigeria almost 40 years ago. In the course of traveling, come across a lot in the whole of Africa. I've been to all the countries in West Africa with the exception of Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, and Cape Verde Islands. All the others have been, I've had cause to spend at least a month or two in each of the countries in West Africa. I've been to Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho as well in Africa. Now, in the course of traveling, I discovered that people just hate us just because we are Nigerians. I quite agree we do a lot of things we are not expected to do. Now, the Nigerian government in particular, if you know the amount of assistance they are rendering African states, you will shiver. And this assistance they are rendering them is nothing but deals, not assistance to the to the country as a nation, but to their leaders. There's a country we sent 18 million barrels of crude oil during Buhari's military administration. The crude oil got there, they sold it, and it was unaccounted for. When the government was overthrown, the matter came to came to light. And in fact, we've done so much for them to even tell us thank you. The government benefiting tremendously from this assistance, they impose residence permit fees on us. They treat us just like, so we gain nothing from the assistance we are rendering them. And I also discovered that inherently, they have envy for Nigerians, inherently. Not that we did anything wrong to them, just because you are a Nigerian, the envy is there. So some of them just come to, I don't know what they call it in English, just to provoke you into a discussion. They tell you what they feel you will like to hear to enable you open up and start saying
gaslight.
There's a word, something like that. Anyway, just to hear what you will say, to enable them reinforce their biases and prejudice and animosity against you. So I'd never feel comfortable whenever I'm with them. So this is one of the reasons why I feel so bad when they interfere in our internal affairs. And also, we as Nigerians, we are in no way interested in other countries' internal affairs. When the Ghanaians are discussing their matters on public forum, we don't interfere. To the best of my knowledge, when we appear in their discussion panels, we try to deal with principles rather than going into nitty-gritties of their local politics. Nigerians by nature, they are not interested. In South Africa, what we did for those people, generations unborn should not forget it. But when you go there today, what even the political leaders are doing to Nigerian nationals is very despicable. As for the commoners in South Africa, I understand their position when it comes to other Africans, not just Nigerians. Because during apartheid, they were cut off from other African states. The country was like a prison. They were not getting foreign radio stations, newspapers, or contact with people from other parts of Africa. It is people like Thabo Mbeki, Steve Chiwete, those who went to exile that lived like kings while they were outside. So when they returned, they did not tell their people the hospitality they enjoyed from countries like Nigeria and Ghana, Zambia, and others. Now, when apartheid ended, we went to South Africa. The people were alarmed. The question they asked us, which could not answer, is, where were you while we were fighting apartheid? Because they never knew what their leaders were enjoying outside. Their leaders were given millions of US dollars to fight the apartheid cause, and they were living like kings outside. And these are monies not accounted for. So for us to do so much to other African countries, and yet they have inherent envy against us, I find it very difficult to swallow. This is why I don't feel comfortable discussing our issues in their presence. They should leave us alone. we by nature are very open people. If you watch Nigerian movies, we talk about the good things, the bad things, and the ugly things in Nigeria. Incest, holy men, what they call armed robbers. I mean, men of God. We don't hide anything at all. Even our retired heads of states, whenever they do anything wrong, we expose them. So they already know enough about us. They should leave us alone. We are Nigerians. I agree we are bad people. If they say we are bad, I will not argue that. No matter how difficult a problem is, if reasonable men sit down to find a common ground, the problem can be solved. The Americans went to the moon and they returned safely. What can be more difficult than that? They did it because reasonable men sat down in America to work out the modalities. So if we as Nigerians should sit down and work out the modalities, be it through a revolutionary government or whatever it is, or military government, that is our internal problems. It has nothing to do with them. They should leave us alone.
Right.
Thank you, my
Mr.
brother.
James.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Go ahead, Mr. Jonathan.
Okay, I'm sorry, my brother.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. The floor is
Okay.
yours.
All right. Thank you so much, brother James. You know, I have a respect for you a lot, and especially what you bring to the table, the history side of it. And I also understand as an elder statesman, when I call you elder statesman, because even though you say you left Nigeria so many years ago, you are still present in Nigeria and you still hold the culture. But don't you believe that there are people that love Nigeria even in the midst of all of that, and they genuinely care about us, and that's the area or the angle I want you to see it from. Because most of them come genuinely, have a heart that this is. They don't even look at us just because we are Nigeria. They just see it like a black nation failing or black people failing. So I think about that, but in any case, I don't want to use that to take too much of our time. If you can leave your contact in the private chat, I will get it so we can have more discussion with you. I have so much respect for you. And tell your brother Ove that he should grow up.
Okay, thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you, brother. Respect, nothing than respect for you. All right. Brother, senior pastor from UK.
Elder, go ahead.
And also from all the way from India, I know, trying to see the name again. Is
Eagle
here.
7.
Eagle, okay, Eagle, yes. The one that married a wife that is more educated than him. He's a good man. But that's not it matter. You are a good man. That's what matters. You saying your wife is a high baby doesn't make. Yeah.
Jonathan, I respect you so much because
Respect, brother.
I, sometimes I watch the kind of character you exhibit in this panel. It looks so exceptional. You are not the type that always try to create a confusion while there is confusion in the midst. So sometimes when I come in a panel like this, I watch environment and I read some people that is around, like somebody like a Reverend Pastor Bishop Andrew, popularly known as Electricity. Even if he handling a panel, I found out that people that in panel are very stubborn. What you need to do is look for somebody to hand over and disappear, so that he will not be continue to be provoked. I have studied him and know him. That is the truth. He will look for somebody and hand over and disappear. Yes, that's the truth about everything. I have really studied him seriously. Oga James, I always salute. Thank you for the history which he led us. But there's something I want to say something concerning the history Oga James was given. You know, when you travel and mix up with a lot of people, you learn a lot. You learn. Then what are you going to learn? There's a lot of things. You learn good, you learn bad. And you will learn people that provoke you for just no reason. That's one thing in life. But the knowledge to control the anger and they control the situation within you determine the kind of person you are exceptional in life. So what I'm trying to say in effect that talk about how people talk to Nigerians, the way the attitude they exhibit before Nigerians. Sometimes there's something I used to say. Your dressing addresses you. The way you dress determines how people address you. That's the truth about it. The way you dress determines how people address you. This is our country. This is our country called Nigeria. The reason why other nations, especially African nations, address us in a bad way, in a situation whereby you and I don't like, because our leaders is the cause of all these things. You have to say the truth. For instance, here in India, where I'm staying, I'm not trying to control bad thing or certain nature, but there's something India government used to do. Do you know that if any country now, you make money in that country, and that country was pursuing you, coming after you, and you run, enter India, next thing India government will do, they protect you first. That's first thing India government will do. They first of all protect you as their own citizen. Then tell the government they are investigating, let us go through the matter. They will get back to you. Now, the person that came in with that money, we invest in that money in that country. The government will encourage you to invest that money for them to get their own tax. Then wherever you refuse to do according to the rule and regulation or the direction which government give to you, the Indian government will use their own self to punish you. But in Nigerian instance, you will suffer in abroad, make your own money in abroad, and bring it to Nigeria. Now they frustrate you. Also, the money is suffer in Nigeria. And if you refuse for them to frustrate you, now they begin to say that they are conducting investigation, how you make your money in abroad, this and that, this. That's the problem. The way the government treats you determines how others will treat you. For instance, here in India, my wife was undergoing some courses here in India. Now, do you know that India government will collect something like 18,000 rupees? That is about that 18,000 is almost $300 to extend their document. Then, when they collect that money to extend their visa, do you know what they do? If they like, they give you 3 months. So, like, they give you 1 month. This is somebody doing a course that costs 2 years, or they'll give 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. Then after the month, you come back again, they collect money from you. But do you know that some African nations, their own embassy refuse to adopt that? If you collect that money, the government come and negotiate with the government of India and say, no, you cannot collect such a amount of money and give them 1 month, 2 months. Then if you report to the Nigerian embassy, they will tell you, if you don't like, go back to Nigeria and get a fresh visa and come back. Have you seen the difference? Because of the way they treated their own people, that determines how other people will treat you. So that's the main issue. If you watch in Nigeria, you find that the way Nigerian government treats you as a citizen, it seems that you are just an outcast in the country. How much more are going to treat you as somebody in this panel said that, have you go to New York Nigerian embassy and see how they will treat you in that place? That's the main issue we are facing in this country. That's the main problem we are facing in this country called Nigeria. If you go out, you see the best of Nigeria's outside nation. You will see the qualities Nigerian people, Nigerian cities possess in outside country. They are giving the best to the other country, but in Nigeria, for them to give the best is the poor best. When you come back with that best, they will frustrate you. Okay, could you imagine this? This I'm saying now happened just last week. I want us to understand this where the hatred is coming among us. I want us to understand where the hatred is coming. Do you know just last week that my wife went to extend her documents? Do you know what kind of thing that happens in that embassy? A lot of politics begin to play. Have you seen the kind of thing that happen in Nigerian embassies? So it is other countries, but if they treat you very well as their own citizen, protect you, guide you, other nation will look how they treat you and do what? And begin to respect you and guide you. That's why no matter whatever Nigerian people did to other country, when they are looking for independence, for instance, South Africa, how they treat them, then they come to other place will look how you treat their own citizens to treat you also. That's the main issue.
All right.
So
Thank you.
the problem we are having is internal, not external.
Okay. Thank
Yes,
you.
Pastor.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for calling me out. I will take note of that, and I will change. I think I have changed. I don't run away again. That is my own. That is my own way of coping mechanism. Rather than fighting, rather than fighting people on the platform, my own coping mechanism is I end the show and I just have to go take care. But you see, Mr. James, what the question John Abba asked, it's on point. The point Eagles made also, it's on point. And you remember you started earlier, you stated earlier during the course of this broadcast that the country has not created atmosphere for
Enabling
Nigerians to be
environment.
enabling
Enabling
environment for
environment.
Nigerians
Yeah.
to be patriotic. So when people see this outside, they tend to judge us with that situation. If an American citizen outside goes out and something happens, you see how the American government intervenes to ensure, even if that citizen is wrong, the government still intervenes and ensure that that citizen is taken away from that situation and back to the United States. So, and these other countries, citizens from other African countries, they may not even have a clue what the Nigerian government did for them. It's only those in the top sector in the government that really knows what goes on. And listen, I understand where you're coming from. If I've given you so much help in life, and your people come around and start to treat me or treat me, I'm bound to get upset. But it also depends on how I treat my own people. Now, you said something also important in terms of the ruling class. I mean, the elite or the ruling class, how they keep things coded within themselves. You never hear the Oni of Ife and the Oba of Lagos fighting. They may even fight, but you won't hear it. They keep it within that. But it's not with us citizens, the rest of us that are not part of this class. What we do is this, and I want us to really weigh in on this. Nigerians bashing Nigerians. We bash each other a lot. We speak ill of each other a lot on this platform and other platforms. Rather than putting our heads together to find solution. Now, there's a moment of banter, jokes. That's not what I'm talking about. For example, we had a joke here earlier now when Eagles said he studied everybody and he knows that when things are heated up with me, I'm going to run away. I'll end the show. That is banter. That is not bashing. So, but bashing is in the negative aspect. How do we deal with this Nigerians bashing Nigerians so that we can have this unity among us, just like the elites have this unity among them? That is one thing I want each of us to weigh in on. I'll start with you, Mr. James. Then I go to
No,
John Abba. Then I go to Eagles Head.
no, you see, it is not only Nigerians who criticize themselves. If you live with other Africans, among themselves, they do the same thing. But again, every society has its own characteristics. When I meet, let's say, a Ghanaian, a group of Ghanaians in any part of the world, apart from their accent, which I know very well, when they speak, I know, their behavior too, from their behavior, I know that these people are from Ghana. Likewise, the Gambians, of course, South Africa, all the places I've lived, when I see people from these countries, when they are from their behavior, I know where they come from. We Nigerians, we have our own characteristics. And one of the things I very much cherish about Nigerians is that we're, in English, there's what they call irreverent. That is, we don't worship anybody. If you are a king and you do what is not expected of you, they will expose you. I mean, if you read our newspapers, our retired heads of states, I don't want to mention any names, they've done certain things they are not expected to do, and we expose them. When a lecturer is caught in the university messing around with female students, we expose them. In fact, one was taken to Kuje prison from the southeast part of Nigeria not long ago, and the name was everywhere. You get the point. Now, if we bash each other, that acts as a form of corrective. I mean, we should correct our ills by exposing it instead of hiding it. That is how I see it. As I said earlier on, if you watch Nigerian movies, you find cases of murder, incest, robbery, and you name it. All the bad things happening in the country, we expose it. And we also use it to educate each other so that when I'm having dealings with you, I know what to expect. Then I'll be on my guard. And this has also helped me too in living with other Africans in their country. So, I mean, because Nigeria has about 250 to 300 different ethnic groups. So when I come out, I'm already used to that situation of not hiding anything from anybody. So this is how I see it. I don't think we are bashing each other. That is just our characteristics. And one thing again is, we should not live our lives to please other people. We should live our lives to please ourselves. If this is how we live in Nigeria, so be it. It's up to others either to admire us or not to admire us. That is their cup of tea. This is how we live in Nigeria. This is our characteristics.
Thank you, Jonaba. Mr. Jonaba, the floor is yours, please. Thank you.
Thank you once again for having me. I think whatever Brother James said is true.
I'm sorry, it's raining. It's raining over here. The light might go off soon, so I might be off the line for some time.
No problem. Before, just in case, like I highlighted this comment on coming up on Sunday, is this topic: we cannot continue to be slaves by Aliko Dangote, and we will be having it on Sunday and also on Saturday, which is tomorrow. The ladies segment will continue. Behind closed door, is domestic violence / abuse a private matter or social issue? We all know what domestic violence is like and how it affects some people's mental health in the context of Nigeria and Africa. Thank you for that, Mr. John Abba. The floor is back to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you for reminding us about the upcoming program. All right, I enjoyed the program, so if I'm available, I would love to be part of it as usual. Brother James, what you said is true. We are unique. We demonstrate our own characteristic. There's nothing wrong to be transparent about what is going on in our own society. If we decided that is the way we talk about our issues. I also believe that there is adage in my place that says that if you use your right hand to beat a child, left hand to beat a child, you use the right hand to bring him closer. So I think as far as the motive behind it is about challenging one to be better or to learn from certain behavior in our society that is completely unacceptable, then it's of a good cause. Uh, End of the day, sometimes people presentation may not be right because we are human beings, but the motive will be right. And the unfortunate part of the motive, people doesn't know that it's between you and sometimes whatever when we say God. So nobody actually know your motive except you communicate it rightly. So I think come to Nigerians, bash Nigerians. Um, is something that if it's within our space, because there is a say that teeth and tongue live together and they still fight. So there is nothing wrong in us disagreeing as a Nigerian, or nothing wrong in exposing our weakness, while we also know that we are the envy of the world. There's nothing wrong with that. But I believe in life that everything has boundary, and it has to stay within that boundary. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jonaba. Ego sir, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, everyone on the panel. Jolava, I understand everything you say, both Oga James. But when you talk about bashing somebody, that means you are talking about physical attack or criticism. Now, when you look at Nigeria,
Not physical
look at the
attack.
heart.
Right.
Yeah, it's an attack. When you bash somebody, just give the person an attack or trying to make sure that you stand against the person. Because when you criticize somebody critically, when you criticize somebody physically, what do? You just attack him physically. So what I'm trying to say in effect that what is the motive behind that criticism? What is the motive behind that bashing that you give to somebody? That's one thing that we need to look into in totality. Because somebody may just come out like a Pastor Andrew, electricity is now. I may come on panel because I have a wrong motive concerning him. Whatever thing he said, I will bash him. I will attack him. I will criticize everything that he said. When there's some people that when they come on the stage, they based on what he said, they want to put correction. Then the bashing come in two ways. Either you bash the person with something of love that you want to make some correction. That's why sometimes you interject over something. That is, you are trying to make sure that this person is will not allow the person to pass wrong information against others or against somebody. That is, you interject and bash the person. That means you attack what the last person was trying to say. But in Nigerian situation, sometimes they bash somebody because they want to get influence against that person. So sometimes the political elite, the elite we have in Nigeria, you find out that when they want to get a position, a particular position in the government, now they gather people and give them the space to do what? To begin to criticize somebody, begin to say something that is not true. There are some people that they will bash you. In fact, before you understand they already bash you, criticize you, it will take time for you to know. Somebody like P2V, if P2V now want to talk to you, the way he presents something, the way he said it, you in particular self will not understand that they already finished you. And you will call him my own brother, my uncle. That I will not talk to so and so person because it's not the same level with me. He said that if it is a presidential candidate, I will talk to him. But this person is a spokesman. I don't think I have something to tell him because I don't have anything to do with it. He found that indirectly he has tried to make the person to understand you are not my level. So when you Nigeria bash Nigeria, in which motive are they bashing Nigeria? What is the purpose? What is the reason? They bash the person, or they just come out just to open their mouth and say something anyhow. But what do we do? What do we do to make sure that we come together? That's the main thing. When such a thing happens, the best thing to do is that as we are in this platform now, I attack Jonava with a wrong motive, or I bash him with a wrong motive. Now, what will happen here is that everybody will keep quiet and allow me when I finish. Electricity or Oga James will come in and say, this is not the reason why we are here now. The way he spoke to Jolava, the way he insulted him is not good. The way he tried to handle it is not good. He found out that the way they approached me, even if I feel that I'm right, he found out that I will calm down. But when he want to correct somebody and want us to correct something, make correct mistake, then you're using a harsh word. Because when you talk about bashing, talk about being harsh, you use a harsh word to correct somebody. He found out that the correction will not be made. That's the truth about it. The correction will not be made. But when you use something like a polite word, even if you are trying to insult me, but you are too polite to use that word, I will get sense over what they are saying, because I will get sense, I will get understanding that what I said is not good. The way I approach Jalaba, the way I use a harsh word concerning him is not good. Then I have to restrain. But when it comes in a hard way, there's no way you get solution for it. There's no way you get peace in the war. So the only way Nigerians used to come together to make sure things work out is that when we understand that you cannot use trouble to make peace. Rather, you can use a noble mind and a kind of a character that is understandable to approach the person so that the thing will not escalate in a hard way. That's the only solution about it. Then if the person refuses to adopt, to receive the correction which you are giving to him, don't go ahead to make sure that you must. Because I have seen a place where, sorry if I use this to conclude, I was in a program. The program was a pastors, majority of the pastors in that program here in India. One of the pastors said that this one should come. Let me pray for him. The person that they want to pray for him, don't want him to lay hand on him and pray for him. He said that I'm a senior pastor. Come, let me pray for. I must pray for you. Is it a must? It's not a must. Before he couldn't, they began to talk to each other in a manner that an outsider are not supposed to listen. So sometimes we correct each other with love, with a noble mind, so that the problem will not escalate more. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Earlier, Madam Gladys made in our argument or a contribution. She said, "Running away will not save us." Mr. James, I'm going to start with you.
Yes, please.
Running away will not save us. You reference to revolution, and if you ask every average Nigerian man person today if they want to leave the country, I think there was a video. Let me see if I'll get a video that really speaks about some of us and why we are running away. Running away will not save Nigeria. So if everybody runs away, Mr. James, who is going to carry ahead or go ahead with that revolution that you were
Now,
earlier
if
talking
people
about?
choose
ahead.
not to run away, if people choose not to run away, and the leaders of the country are running away, where do we stand? The youth informed the government of the day that in 3 weeks' time, we are going to protest against bad governance. What did we see? Parliament was closed. They went on forced recess. Their families were flown outside the country. And after the whole show, they started returning. So there's an English poet. Is it English or I can't remember. His name is Geoffrey Chaucer. He wrote the Canterbury Tales. He said, if gold rusts, what will iron do? So that's the situation we find ourselves. Those who are causing the problems in the country, the legislators, top government officials, the judges, and what have you, they have second homes elsewhere, in the Caribbean, in the USA, and what have you. So if those people can go away, who am I to stay? This is the crux of the matter. And remember that majority of those who left the country, if not that they are outside the country, most of their families would have perished. A lot of children wouldn't have gone to schools. And I mean, they are the people running the country. People are telling us not to go away, but if you are what they call preparing your annual budget, you include remittances from abroad. If people do not go outside the country, where will you get those remittances from abroad from? So it's not a crime to run or to leave the country. Now, tell me any country in the world where the citizens do not go out. Even the Americans, if you go to the Middle East, you find a lot of them in the oil industry. The British, they ran away from their, in fact, Europeans in general, they colonized Africa, they ran away from Europe to colonize Africa to their own advantage. So what is it that Nigerians are doing that is unbecoming? There's nothing wrong with running away. If you have the means to run away, pack your bag and baggages and walk out of the country. If you choose to go back in future, fine. I have no quarrel with that. May your God help you if you believe in God. So that is how I see it. There's nothing wrong with running away.
Okay, okay. This is what, Mr. James. This is where I probably will be disagree with you. That this, you see, Americans don't run away. The British don't run away. The Australians don't run away from their country. Africans only run away from Africa because of what? Because of the situation back there. So there's a difference between running away and what, and just immigrating or migrating to another country for maybe work purposes, or but in the context of Nigeria, it is as a result of the economic situation. So
Yeah,
that is why the phrase "running away"
no, you see, the
comes about.
British, the British in particular, when they came to Africa, in fact, the Europeans, they had two types of colonies. We have colonies of exploitation and colonies of settlement. The economic situation in Europe was despicable, was very bad for them. So they were looking for greener pastures. When they came to West Africa, they had the thought of staying here permanently, but mosquitoes drove them away. So they gave us the option to negotiate our independence on terms acceptable to them. But for East Africa and Southern Africa in particular, they even exterminated the people to dispossess them of their land, if they like it or not, because the condition in Europe was not favorable to them. To the extent that when they left, they were even renouncing their nationality. They would tell you, I'm a Rhodesian, I'm a Zimbabwean, I'm a South African. New Zealand and Australia today, these were territories owned by black people. But the white people took it over from them and they said, we are Australians. I'm not a Brit. I'm not a Briton. I'm an Australian. You get the point I'm making. So what we are doing today is nothing new. It's nothing new. And it's not only Nigerians who are traveling. The Ghanaians are everywhere. I've seen them. The Kenyans are everywhere. Zimbabwe, even South Africans. They've started moving out. So that is just how it is. The whole of North and South America, in fact, South America in particular, was colonized by Spain, with very few, I think Portugal and one or two other countries belonging to other nations. The Spaniards took over the whole of South America from the indigenes. North America, in fact, the whole of Americas and the Caribbeans was not the property of Europe, but they took it over. So there's nothing strange in what we are doing. Absolutely nothing.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. John Abel. Earlier, Mr. James said, "Oh, man of prestige. Sorry, I didn't. I thought there was something blocking your face. Sorry, I didn't. You are so obvious to me, and I didn't see you there. Welcome to the show. I don't know if you'll be following the broadcast from the start, or where did you join? We started with the Subversion bill that has been withdrawn, but I felt there was a need for us to talk about it. Before I come to you, Mr. Man of Prestige, Mr. James, your last
Yes,
argument will be very helpful on Sunday's podcast. So I will send you the link for it, just for you to read the description So we'll be having a very, very interesting broadcast this weekend. The ladies segment, number one, is domestic abuse, violence, a private matter or a social issue. And on Sunday, we cannot continue to be slaves. And we all know how that will resonate with every one of us, even though we were not, none of us here, no, our parents were taking slaves, but we know what it is like. So it's going to be a very, very interesting podcast. Two interesting shows this weekend. In fact, it's going to be three interesting shows. The other one has not been published. It will be published later on. So, man of prestige, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Yeah, I just tuned in a few minutes ago. So, like you said, it's about the Subversion bill. I've not been privy what's going on in Nigeria because I left US on the 21st. So even before the protest that took place on the 1st of this month, I've been gone. Actually, I just came back yesterday on Wednesday. So I've been trying to replace some of the things that actually transpire in Nigeria. I'm just getting a little bit of hold of what transpired from the protest to whatever is going on right now, this Subversion bill and everything that's going on. So I don't really have the grasp of what's Nigerian situation at the present time, but the little that I have information on, it kind of is rubbing me in the wrong way. Why am I saying that? I don't really want to pivot back to what actually happened, but there's one that is really, I'm very much concerned. I mean, people may call it tribalism or whatever, slog going on in Nigeria, but I kind of consider it to be xenophobia. Let me very precisely, because I've seen something, they call it Legopedia, Yoruba Roni, and some Southeasterners that say something too, and whatever is going on in South Africa. So if we can come here and condemn whatever is going on in South Africa, we are saying that they're against Nigeria, they're making xenophobia against other black nations, but we are perpetuating the same thing in Nigeria. So that has been a concern of mine because of some of the news that I heard and some of what I've just read. It's very baffling to me. So I'm very much concerned about that. I'm trying to get the whole information before I can make a commentary. So, like I said, I'm not privy with very much everything that's going on in Nigeria. I've been gone for almost about 3 weeks. I have to get every information before I can comment to most of them. So,
Man of prestige, you said
yeah.
you've been gone for 3 weeks. Where did you go? Is there no internet, or you went to the moon? Or
Look, when I'm on vacation with my family, I was gone. I went to Europe. When I'm on my vacation with my family, I mean, I do get the alert and everything. I don't get into internet. I'm there to, for the holiday with the family. So that's the most important into it. I don't dive into Nigerian politics. That's just the policy we have within my family.
No, I'm just wondering, given to your history. So I just want to be very sure.
Yeah. I'm not able to get into Nigerian politics because my wife won't let me do that. It's about family when I'm on vacation. So
she's a good woman to be able to tame you. Thank God for that. Festus, welcome to the platform. I know you've been back, but where are you joining us from, please?
From Houston, Texas.
Okay, so that's, you have to have your camera on. That is why I didn't bring you in. Thank you for obliging.
Oh, I didn't know the camera was switched off.
Okay, exactly. I don't know if you've been following, and thank you again. I believe it appears that this is your first time on this platform. I've not seen your face before. Would that be correct?
I've actually been coming, but this is my first time seeing you here.
First time seeing me. Wow.
Yeah, normally I see Mazi, not you.
Okay, all right. The floor is yours for you to weigh in on what is going on.
Yeah, I guess to the earlier question you posted about would leaving the country save you? I think this is not the first time people have been immigrating out of their homeland. It's nothing new. Just like what the earlier speaker said about Europeans immigrating to the Americas, Australia, New Zealand. So they left because their country wasn't doing good economically. But I think from the individual point of view, immigration may save a person, but it's not going to save the country, especially when you look at 220 million Nigerians today. it's completely impossible for the whole world to absorb millions of Nigerians fleeing the country. So many would have to stay home. But I think the issue that's not been addressed is the way the country is being governed. It's unsustainable, and the future is not going to be bright for the country. And some of us in the diaspora, we're definitely going to feel it. If we look at what's going on in the UK with, can you, okay, I thought I wasn't here. If you look at what's going on in the UK, where there is mass protests against immigration, it's evident that it's not just in the UK that people have that sentiment. It's all across Europe and then also in the US as well. So eventually, we would see a lot of countries tighten their belt as far as preventing more immigrants to come in. Without we forced to build our country, else will be a wasteland. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you for Festus. That is exactly what we're trying to say here. What Madam Gladys, that us running away will not save the country. We're not against. I don't think what she's saying is that those people against people traveling. From the time memorial, people have been traveling, and people will continue to travel. But here it is: we travel with no prospect of going back home. If Americans, the British, the Australians travel, most of them have the prospect of going back home because they have something to go back home to. During the Celtic Tiger here, when there was a lot of Europeans came to Ireland, and when their country picked up, most of them now went back to their country. And we're trying to see how we can create this, have this environment that we've gone, which is normal, for us to go back to. But that is not the case. And so Mr. James said a revolution. I'll come back to you again, Mr. James. We know we don't know how a revolution, what shape or form revolution normally takes. But Mr. James, in your own hypothetical explanation, how do you think this revolution, in what shape or form, do you think this revolution will be like? Hypothetical. We know we don't know. You're muted, Mr. James. Mr. James, you're muted.
It's okay now.
Okay. I was
yes.
about to ask you if you are in the spirit, and you're asking us to wait until you come down. You come.
No, I'm very physical. I'm very physical. Now, you see, if a revolution is planned, in my opinion, it ceases to be a revolution. Because most of the revolutions that have taken place, it is built up. It's built up over time. And eventually, they get to a point whereby the last straw will break the camel's back. Then the process will unfold. That is why some revolutions do not address the needs of society. That is, I always say that there can't be a change without a revolution, but not all revolutions bring about the desired changes. If the revolution is not properly managed, what you hope to achieve will not be achieved. Now, it's not what you sit down around the table with reasonable gentlemen and start plotting, what should we do, what should we not? No. The system has to break down. After the breaking down, a new dispensation will come, and when it comes, then they have to make sure that all the rubbish that has broken down will not be allowed to germinate anymore. Then they set new rules and regulations to govern the society. This is what the Iranians did during the days of the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah and Shah Pahlavi, their president, they were not on good terms. The Ayatollah was very religious, while Shah Pahlavi was a Western trained man. So they were not seeing things eye to eye. The Ayatollah had cause to go into exile in Iraq. From Iraq, he went to France, got himself organized, Then there were movements in the country till the country collapsed. After the collapse, then the Ayatollah returned to form a theocratic state. While the state was formed, there was a lot of infighting among the new ruling class. I can't remember their name, Ali Rajai, Bani Sadra, and others. There were a lot of infighting till eventually they stabilized and formed the modern Islamic Republic of Iran. Then in Ghana, in 1979, there was hopelessness, just like it is in Nigeria today. Jerry Rawlings and his boys, eventually they found themselves in office. They introduced a revolutionary state which they could not control. So at the end of the day, Rawlings had to back down, and the old dispensation eventually infiltrated the system again, and that is where the Ghanaians find themselves. So Ghana is a country where a revolution was launched, but the revolution did not achieve its desired end. Whereas in Iran, in Russia, in France, they achieved their desired end. So that is how it is. It's not what we just sit down to plan. No. Like this, what's it called? NSAS and this last protest in Nigeria. The governments were terribly afraid because it is capable of pulling the government down. And when the government is pulled down in a protest, there is no government in place. So there will be an emergency government. It is that emergency government that will initiate the revolutionary changes the society requires. So it's not what you just sit down and plan and execute. That is how I see it. But again, I want to make something clear. A revolution does not necessarily mean bloodshed. Okay. Executing people, I don't support it for just one reason I've been explaining on this platform. When you shed blood, when you execute people, the consequences are normally very, very tragic. A classic example is Liberia. They executed 14 top-ranking ministers, senators, and what have you in Liberia. It is the execution of those people that eventually caused the Liberian Civil War, which lasted, I think, 10 to 15 years. So it's not encouraged. I mean, it should not be encouraged. You can lock them up in prison, restrict their movement, but again, these are very, very dangerous people you've removed from office. If you allow them to leave the country, they are capable of toppling your government. So they should either be locked up or placed under very strict surveillance. But to execute them by firing squad, I don't support it.
Thank you. Yes, the shedding of blood, there's life in blood. The shedding of blood has its consequences on the land and in a nation. I'm going to start with Madam Gladys, then I'll go to Man of Presi, Festus, Iguse, and I'm going to end with Mr. James with this particular topic. Hungry man is an hungry man, someone deprived of a basic necessity will not be easily placated. In Nigeria at the moment, we've been deprived of basic necessity beyond what any one of us can imagine. Recently, the complaint is we are hungry. Are we really hungry? Or if we are truly hungry, why have the people not risen up to say, you know what, this hunger is too much? The 10 days protest does not seem so that indeed we are hungry. Are we really hungry, or we just let things slide? But I'm glad I'll start with you. Thank you.
Hello.
We can hear you loud and clear, madam.
Okay. Your question is really a very funny one, but I want to tell you here that the hunger and anger, they're just two words that have different meanings. The anger is accumulated anger, when one has stayed on. It's like you have a dog and you've kept your dog hungry for quite some time. Before you turn around, the same dog that is used to you will turn around and want to give you a bite. That's exactly what has taken place in Nigeria. The people have really endured for many years. They kept on saying things will be all right, things will be all right. But like you said here a few minutes back, you said school fees were increased before the children went on holidays. Why they on holidays now? They have actually increased the school fees again. Where are the parents going to get this money for? Even those who are into businesses, who have family businesses or they have their personal businesses, it is not easy. It's not easy to pay school fees. Unlike in the past, like when I heard what Mr. James said, Mr. James said possibly maybe in the next dispensation, or maybe when next they want to do protest again, that maybe the Northerners wouldn't want to join. They will join because what they are seeing now, they have never seen it before. In the past, their leaders used to talk to them and then they placate them, they make them calm them down, give them things, eat. But if you eat the food and you are still hungry, won't you want to step out into the streets? So it is something that issues that should be sorted out when it is being described as being hungry. The issues of electricity, basic amenities, making sure that things are effectively being managed, not where we have our fund. It is one-sided. Some group of people are enjoying this fund, while others are in total poverty. When you hear of poverty, meanwhile, some people are busy building houses, buying up companies, buying oil companies, and the rest of them. But your people that you're ruling over, they are hungry. So those who are pretending that this thing is not getting to them, at a point it will get to them. Because you see the situation that the security system in the country is not really very is such a one that if you're going into the country, you don't, even your own family brothers or sisters, you don't tell them you're coming around. And then when you come around, you manage your lifestyle before you are kidnapped and they will ask you for some ransom. Where will you get the ransom from? So the totality that Nigerians are hungry and angry, it is actually describing their current situation in the present times. The rate of suffering has gotten out of proportion that people are really ready. Some of them saying they would rather die on the streets than dying in their homes. That's to let you know the rate of anger, bottled up anger, where it has gotten them to. So they need to sort out few situations of things. They need to come to a round table talk. How can we manage our things? Not people busy buying companies and managing their companies and telling people you give 70,000 naira to as the minimum wage. Is that going to buy you rice? A bag of rice is going for 80,000. You have not even bought the condiments to use to cook it. You still have to talk of paying your electricity bill. You have to save money for a hospital bill as well. So where are they going to get it? So if you see people turning to become kidnappers, in the past it wasn't like that. That you see people who stand on the road and use guns to pick up people and then ask their family members. Initially they said it was only happening in some certain part of the country, but now it's happening everywhere. Even worse in some certain situations where they're kidnapping people. So what are the ways that we can use to combat this situation that is getting out of hand? It is really getting to such a point that some people might decide to say it's okay. It's like a revolution is building. Maybe the cloud is very cloudy. It's about to rain. What kind of rain is it going to bring? Is it going to be bloody? Or is it going to be very peaceful? Or is it something that we can sort out amicably within us? If we can leave religion out of it, leave tribal sentiments out of it, then I'm sure that we'll be able to come to a roundtable talk to decide which way Nigeria, how we're going to go. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Mr. Man of Prestige.
Yeah.
An
Thank you
hungry
very much.
man is an hungry an hungry man is an hungry man. You know that phrase. The
Correct.
definition is someone deprived of basic necessity. And without a shadow of doubt, Nigerians have been deprived of basic necessity. In particular, electricity, constant electricity, which concerns me more anyway. But have we really sure that indeed we are hungry? Because if an hungry man is an No, it's supposed to be an hungry man is an angry man. I beg your pardon. That's a point of correction. Let me take it down. Not I didn't say it initially. Sorry about that. An hungry man is an angry man. Allow me to correct it. Apologies for that. I didn't say. Well, just give me 1 second, please. It's an angry man. Hungry man. It's an angry man. An angry man. So thank you very much. That is it back again. Hungry man is an angry man, someone deprived of basic necessity. Are we truly hungry, given to how we've been deprived? Are Nigerians truly hungry, given to how we've been deprived of basic necessity over the years? Because if indeed we have, I don't think we will be where we'll be doing what Mr. James alluded to or argue upon revolution. There will be that revolution already. So, man of prestige, are you angry?
Thank you.
You are not angry. You went on holiday.
I mean, I agree with the narrative. You know, a hungry man is an angry man. That's definitely true. But let me talk about in Nigerian space. Nigerians are hungry, but the question to be, people should be asking: are they angry? To a certain extent, they are angry, but it has not plateaued to that degree for them to hit the street or so-called revolution. So, in my own opinion, they're not angry yet, because their anger is kind of subdued to a certain degree. If they are really angry, then they have to take the bull by the horn and do whatever is necessary. But going by this previous protest that took place, there has been a different theory. Maybe the pro government said it wasn't successful, but in my own opinion, for the little that I gathered, I feel like it was successful. I mean, most of their agitation have not been made, but what that has created is like an awareness. Particularly what I saw in the north, that has never happened. That kind of protest. Forget about the government hijacking of them going to the court to loot whatever it is. I know there's some hijacking. There has to be some political stuff that went there. There's no doubt about it. Whatever transpired in the north. I mean, that's where this really happened. If you look at in the south, it's not that much. Maybe somewhere in Lagos, from what I saw, very minimum. Somewhere in Padakot. Of course, the Southeast didn't participate, but I wish. I mean, it's a Southeasterners, which is part of they are part of Nigerian. They should have protest, but I understand where they are coming from, because if they have protests, they would have blamed them for everything. We know how the narrative come to Nigeria, but that notwithstanding, have a right to protest or have a right not to protest. But what people don't realize, them sitting at home or wherever, it has cost Nigerian government. I don't really have quite the data to bring out here what it has cost Nigeria during that time of the protest. I mean, I believe Nigerian government, we don't really have a pure data to give us statistics, to give us how much the Nigerian government lost. So in that regard, that has created an awareness, and people has now realized that they can easily do it. I know there could be some political overtone, like people accusing Sowore, would be, and some other people, being behind it. Yeah, there's some political overtone, but that's not the main purpose. In my opinion, I believe maybe about 80% or more than that, of the protest is very organic. This is just the beginning of the awareness. So if this continues with the way this government is going by now, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, next month, the other month. So I believe it's an awakening, very, very minimum awakening, in the Nigerian space. So like the question you pose, are they angry? No, they are not. They are not angry yet, but they are hungry. So
Okay.
that's my point.
So this so the deprivation, the basic necessity, deprivation of basic necessity has not really hit there. Thank you, man of prestige. Festus, the floor is yours in respect to what.
Yeah, thank you. So I guess, are we hungry? We are hungry, and the north is very hungry.
Are you taking it around only, or because I've been watching the way you're picking this thing? I don't understand, but no issue. Go ahead. No issue.
I'm going from Madam Gladys to Man of Presi to Festus to you and then Mr. James. Is that
I'll
okay
be
with
very
you?
short, don't worry.
All right. Okay. We lost him. Go ahead.
So the North is angry. I don't know about us at the South, but everyone is hungry. That's for sure. I also think we are too docile, especially those of us in the South. And I also think maybe because we haven't experienced good governance. No one today was alive, especially the youth, when you had the likes of Awolowo, Michael Opara governing the East or West. I also think tribalism and bigotry played into the hands of those that were protesting. So we didn't have a countrywide protest. But looking at things from my own, 35 years old, it's fair to say that Nigeria has got into uncharted territory, and we should definitely expect more protests in the future. That one is a given. When you see how bad the currency has dropped in value, um, the banditry going on where farmers can actually farm and grow food, you should definitely expect more protests in the future. I used to work at a non-profit. My friends and I started this non-profit, and we used to raise money to help Nigerian students in Nigeria pay for tuition. And I was looking at the account. This was early last year. I was looking at the accounts on tuition we actually paid for students in Unilag, University of Benin, Nsukka, Usman Danfodio, and University of Ilorin. And I thought maybe we made like a typo, where you put like 25,000 naira, not to realize that the tuition rate has actually increased like maybe like 10x or something. And I was shocked, like what's going on in this country? Because I'm here in the US just chilling, enjoying the AC and eating good food, shrimp, burgers, and all that. Like not a lot of people can actually enjoy that luxury back home. So to me, it's the North is waking up now. One issue I have with, well, not like it's an issue, but I watch a lot of folks talk on YouTube, like Dele Farotimi, Sean Kuti, a whole lot of stuff, David Ondain, but they all speak English. It's too refined. No one's speaking Pidgin or Yoruba, Hausa, or Igbo to actually educate the masses on what's going on, the internal and external threats that we face. So I think eventually though, there'll be more protests, maybe bloody eventually, but at least that's a price we would have to pay because no one's gonna save 220 something plus Nigerians. We have to do it ourselves. Yeah.
Thank you, Festus. Mr. James, I know we both agree. You will weigh on this, on what is. I know we both agree that blood should not be shed. Unfortunately, bloods were shed during the NSAS protest. Blood were shed during this last protest. Innocent blood has been shed by government. I'm not. I just wanted to a food for thought for you to take away with, and we will deal with this issue of shedding of blood some other time. Uh, could it be that this shedding of blood, innocent blood, on the land over the years, is having a negative effect on the country? You don't have to respond to that. What is on the screen? It's just a food for thought. We will talk about that some other time. Can you please weigh in on what is highlighted on the screen, please? Thank you, Mr. James.
A hungry man is an angry man. Okay, please kindly allow me comment briefly on what Madame said. I still believe, well, I could be wrong, that come October 1, the Northerners might not participate in the protests for this reason. In the 50s, 1953 or so, I can't remember exactly when Awolowo declared universal free primary education in Western Nigeria, it was an unqualified success beyond compare. The Easterners were not having that program. They bought the idea through personal initiatives. Parents sent their children as much as they could to schools. So the gap the Yorubas created, they were able to, at least to a reasonable extent, bridge it somehow. or not totally. The Northerners completely refused to buy into the idea of educating their children, because it's only the children and of the elites that were sent to schools. And they sent them to fine universities, Cambridge, Oxford, UCLA, Harvard, and what have you. When those children returned, they manned key positions in the country. They left the peasants on their own. That is the root cause of the problem they have in the North today. Now, during Buhari's time, they never made any noise about the situation their children were going through. Illiteracy in the North, poverty in the North. Although one or two people, like Amino Kano and a few people in Buhari's time, expressed concern. But as a group, as a ruling class in the North, that was not their concern at all, because they believed that God made them to be what they are. So be it. Now, there's a problem in the South of demonstration during NSAS movement. Is it not the same Northern elders who instigated the Northern youth not to participate, while the Southern youth were fighting against injustices in the system? They were able to talk to their boys and girls not to participate, yet they were hungry. When the Southern boys and girls discovered palliatives in warehouses, it was at that point the Northerners now joined to loot palliative from warehouses in the North. That showed that they were hungry. Why did they not key into what the Southerners were doing in the first place? Now, this end bad governance protest came up. The organizers in the South gave 3 weeks notice to government. I still remember clearly, when the notice came out, the Northern leaders, they bought the idea. I think Sheikh Gumi and others, they were talking in favor of the demonstration. This man, what's his name? That professor of, is it bone marrow pathology or something? A professor, a medical professor in the North. He was saying something in favor of Peter Obi during the 3 weeks they gave them. I can't remember.
I don't know his name. I don't know his name.
Usman, it's a professor or something. Anyway, he was saying something in favor of Peter. So they supported the movement. But somewhere along the line, the whole of them went underground. When they went underground, what we saw next was children coming out to protest as if nobody asked them to. How were the children able to understand the message that were put across? Now, since this protest took place, Mr. Tinubu and his team, they've been meeting the elites behind the scene. Probably, I'm not very sure, probably trading favors. If they are able to satisfy the ruling class in the North with whatever they want the government to do for them, don't be alarmed, don't be surprised that come October 1, the Northerners will not partake in the demonstration. The Northern elites, they are not really after the development of their people. They are after the development of the ruling class. We should get that crystal clear. That is a remarkable difference between the North and the South. Not until we have a federal government that will force these things on them, nothing will change in the North. Look at when the Kankara boys were abducted from his government science secondary school. When they took the boys away, pressmen went to the school and they showed the photograph to the whole world. You need to see what they call government science secondary school. It's very much like a poultry or a place where pigs live. That is what they call government science secondary school. If a government science secondary school is like that, how will ordinary secondary schools look like? I was told that during Jonathan Goodluck's time, the man did a lot to help this headers education. What happened to the program after he left office? Because they are the people who forced him out of office. When they evicted him from office, what happened to the education program he left behind in the North? The program died. In the language of Chief Zebrudaya, Zebrudaya will say the program is dead, died. You get the point I'm making. So the issue is, The northern leaders, they are not interested in all this grammar we are talking. Educating the people, it means nothing to them. That is not their way of life. Was it not in Niger State also? They married away some girls, orphan girls. The minister of women, of children, I don't know who she is, her name, she went there to give them, an alternative arrangement. These orphan children should not be given away as wives to husbands. Let the federal government take over their responsibility. What happened? They declined her request, and the girls were given away. The reason probably is because you are not the one to come and tell us how to govern ourselves. You are not the one to tell us what to do with our children. So unless this dichotomy between the North and the South is seriously addressed by the federal government, don't expect any change in the North. Anyway, October 1 is very close. I just hope I will be proved wrong. Should the youth come out on that day, don't be alarmed. Don't be surprised that the Northern youth will not come out.
Okay. Mr. Yeah, go ahead, man of President.
Yeah. In reference to this protest, I heard what Mr. James said. I mean, I'm aligned with some of his narrative. But let me come to this space, because I've been reading a lot of things on the S and on the Nigerian space. The Southerners, or let me be very more specific. The pro government, they've been saying the Northerners, didn't participate when they did the NSAS. But so my problem I have, Nigeria is a very tribal, country. So there's no doubt about it. We are very divided. So that's why I have my suspect, if anything will function right in that so-called country. So my response to that is that, okay, they didn't protest during the NSAS, right? What stopped you all from protesting during a Buhari time? The South never protest. Forget about the NSAS. The NSAS, it's just for the, I know it's PP to the government or whatever to a certain degree, but it was about the corruption in the police, and still that was the purpose of the NSAS. So what stopped the Southerners from protesting? So you can't really blame them right now, because we know everything is very trouble in Nigeria.
No,
so they have a right to protest against this government if they find it suitable.
That NSAS, what's called a movement, is the last straw that breaks the camel's back. You get the point? Now, the whole South were able to key into it because they knew what was going on. They just use it as a means to express their anger. That is the issue with the NSAS, what's it called, a movement.
But what is the genesis of the NSAS? Is it not about police corruption, police brutality?
No, I think there was a wrong information. It was proved to be wrong later on that somebody was killed at Ugeli or something like that by the police. That is what they used as an excuse to launch the protest. But actually, they said the man never died. That is what I heard. And I want to correct an impression people have about the country. It is not true that Nigeria is a tribal society. The politicians make it look tribal. Let me explain it this way.
That's correct. No, Mr. James.
No,
go ahead.
Sorry.
Can I chip in?
Go ahead.
Okay.
And let Mr. James finish, and I'll come to
So
you.
let me finish my line of thought, gentleman. Thank you,
sorry
gentleman. Yeah. Now, when my mother was alive, she never had the opportunity of going to school because it was it was customary for women not to be sent to schools. Because if you educate them, they get married, they go away with the knowledge to their husbands' houses. That was why my mother never went to school. But while my mother was alive, do you know that she was traveling to Niger State, chartering this Mercedes truck to buy food from Niger State, bringing it down to Benin State of those days to sell? She had her contacts there. You get the point? It got to a point whereby some of the women there in Niger State, they traveled down to Warri, a village near Warri, to pay her a visit because they were doing business together. These were women who never went to school. If my mother had made up her mind to go to maybe Gwadabawa, I think in Katsina State, to settle there, she will live in peace and harmony with the people of that place. But if I happen to go and live with her, an educated man, the very moment I get there, be rest assured that she's likely to be, she's likely to run into problems with the people around her. I hope you understand me. So it is the educated people, particularly the ruling class, that is causing this tribal problem. Nigerians by nature are not tribalistic. That is, if you go to a via local government in what's it called, Edo State, in those days it was called Bender, Ovia local government and also area where Ovia comes from, there is very serious intermarriage between the people of Yoruba and the people of Bender. They bear Yoruba names as their surnames, whereas they are Benderites. You get the point I'm making? So by nature, Nigerians are not tribalistic. It is the politicians that are, that are responsible for these tribal animosities that is tearing the country apart.
Thank you very much. That is a very strong statement,
Mr. Festus, thank you.
Mr. James, that's a very strong, powerful statement you made. Nigeria is not a tribal country. I'm going to run a separate broadcast on that. I'm going to do a bit of study on it. I just quickly wrote it down before it goes off my head. Festus, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, in regards to NSAS that took place in 2020, that was, of course, police brutality, and that took place in the South. Many Northerners don't even know of SARS. They don't even know it exists. And I think this so-called Yahoo stuff is more prominent in the South than it is in the North. That's why we didn't see a lot of protests in the North. And mind you, it was Tinubu that brought us Buhari. They kicked Jonathan out. They played their, whatever political machinations they were doing. And we had Buhari who literally laid waste to the country. Yorubas or Igbos didn't protest bad governance from Buhari. So if we can put up with bad governance 100% of the time, why should we expect the North to put up with bad governance 50% of the time? Things are different from Buhari's time. The currency has tanked. Food prices have sometimes quadrupled, tripled, doubled some places. And they also feel the wrath of Boko Haram and the banditry going on in the North much more than in the South. So it's a no-brainer that they would have to protest the way they did. And, I don't think we should put any blame on the North for protesting the way they did. And we should also understand that the elite in the North, like what Mr. James said, it seems like the North was colonized twice. First by the Fulani in the jihad of Usman Dan Fodio, and then by Britain. When we got tired of the Brits, they left, but the Fulanis are still there. And there were times before independence that even Britain themselves warned the Fulani elite not to allow the masses to gain Western education. They said it was incompatible with their religion. That's pretty much what Boko Haram is today. And if you look at the pattern of Britain, when they do leave their colonies, they would leave some group of people like the whites in South Africa to govern for them. Or you look at Sudan, they left the Arabs to rule the majority blacks in Sudan. You also look at Rwanda, it was the Tutsis, who are maybe like 12% of the country's population. So in Nigeria also, they've left the Fulanis to rule the country. And to maintain your hegemony, you have to keep people ignorant, and that's what's playing out today. So if the North or if Nigeria wants to see a big change, if we need a revolution in Nigeria, the North needs a revolution twice over to change their thought process, because they've been trained to look at things in an Islamic religious. We are supposed to be more enlightened. You don't really see that level of Islamization you see in other Islamic countries in Africa. You go to Tanzania, Burkina Faso, Senegal, they are not as radical as the Islam that you see in northern Nigeria. So that's the Fulani hegemony has to keep its hold on the masses. And once the hunger, and the bad economic hardship hits the North, they can't really hold the control they have over the Northerners like they are used to before. But I also want to point out this fact that when you look at most other countries outside of Africa, especially like comparing Nigeria to other countries, Spain is mostly Spaniards living there. France, it's mostly French people living there. Japan, mostly Japanese people living there. One ethnic group. Look at Iceland. They are not up to 500,000, but they have their own country. Norway, they are not up to 10 million. They have their own country. So when you now group different nations of people, put them in a sack, and you say this is a country without addressing historical differences, and you now have one guy who calls the shots, and he can put his own cousin to be the head of immigration. He can close up the border in the southwest. He calls the shot as opposed to actually devolving power to everyone, more like a regional system. The country is going to be in a mess. If you also keep on relying on the oil from the southeast, the south, it makes everyone else lazy because the north has tremendous economic potentials, from cattle, dairy, agriculture. Everyone has so much, but we've just relied on milking. You rob Paul to pay Peter, you rob Peter to pay Paul. So the country has to, they need to like work something else out, to govern. This current system of government is just not working for the country.
Thank you. You said something. I'm not going to go into that right now. Putting different nations into one sack. If you could clarify this for me, this term putting different nations into one sack, is it as a result of population or as a result of tribal?
Putting different nations. If you read the Hebrew history about the Aro Inri Kingdom, Aro Confederacy, you look at the middle belts of Kororofa, Canaan Bono Empire, which is close to 1,000 years. Look at Benin and Ife and Oyo. They've been existing, they have like their own unique culture. And when Britain came, it was, let's just split everyone. Yorubas are in Benin and Togo, Hausas are in Niger, Canaries are in Chad, Niger, part of Cameroon. And you put them all in one sack because you want to dominate that area, just like how they did India. India that Britain colonized includes Pakistan, Burma, Bangladesh, but they all had to go their separate ways because they realized they were not compatible. You have Hindu worshippers, you have the Islamic folks, you also have the Buddhists. We have Christian South, Islamic North. How are we going to have a cohesive foreign policy with the issue going on in Israel and Israel and Palestine? So I think we need to understand our unique differences and we need to have a regional system. That's the best for us. But this system and I think we are nations, let's just call it what it is, because Sweden, they are not up to Igbos or Hausas or Yoruba people in population. Many European countries, how many countries in Europe would you see being dominated by another white group of people? It just doesn't happen. The Soviet Union broke apart, Yugoslavia broke apart. So I'm not saying we should break apart, but we need to restructure the country, or else the country will eventually break apart.
Thank you, Festus. Just to ask, before we round up for the day, just a reminder.
Let me say something. Mr. James made a comment, when I was here earlier, and he said we are not.
Man of Prestige, hold on one second. I'll give you the floor. Before we round up, before Man of Prestige speaks, again, reminder, ladies segment tomorrow. Topic is domestic violence abuse a private matter or social issue? On Sunday, we're going to have this again. We cannot continue to be slave by Aliko Dangote. October 1st, I'll look at what day it falls into. We're going to run a special broadcast being a day, an Independence Day. I would like to see, I'll check my calendar to see how it fits into my working schedule. There's a title already in my head for that, and we will deal with that October 1st. I will schedule the broadcast way ahead of October 1st. Man of Prestige, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. James. I know you're well informed. You made a comment that we are not a tribal people. Okay, yeah, I know the politicians perpetuate the tribal narrative that's going on in Nigeria, particularly when it comes to the election time. But why we as an individual, based on tribal, why are we buying into that? Why are we buying into that? The politicians, hijacking Nigeria space, using tribal, to achieve their goal. That's my question.
Look, take the United States, for example. The USA is made up of people from different parts of Europe. I mean, the Europeans, they're the white people. They are some from Poland, Czechoslovakia, former Czechoslovakia, France, Britain, Germany. They are all mixed up in the USA. When the US government, they are implementing their laws, they don't bloody care to know where you come from.
Correct.
If you do anything wrong, the law will take its course. Be you a Polish or whatever, it's irrelevant to them. At least in principle, there might be some slight biases here and there.
Slight biases and favoritism, yeah.
Yes, generally, fundamentally, they try to enforce the law. That is not the case with Nigeria. You get the point I'm making. Now, if you take Bola Tinubu's government to court now as an Igbo man in Lagos, the outcome, the guess is your guess is as good as mine. You understand me? That is what I mean by the country is not tribal. I cited an example. Was it in this program or this platform? I can't remember. When I was a little boy during the Civil War in a primary school, Arinze Primary School in Benin City. During the break period, we normally go on a short break, long break, that's recess. We normally organize football competitions between classes. So my class was playing a football match with another class. For certain important reasons, I was not among the 11 selected players.
It wasn't one of the best.
Yeah, exactly. But out of sheer enthusiasm, I sneaked into the team. So we started playing. But somewhere along the line, I made a very fatal error. I scored an own goal. When I scored the goal, the class was very furious with me. And they gave me a beating of my life on the field. So at the end of break, we went back to our classroom. The teacher was not there. So some boys attempted resuming the beating. So a Benin boy, because I'm not a Benin boy looked at them and told them in their language that only say etobawe. That is enough. He did not do it deliberately. It was that boy who saved me. I'm not a Benin man. The whole of them were Beninese. I was the only non-Benin in the class. But these are little children. He said, Wase etobawe, you should leave him. He did not do it deliberately. And that was how I got saved from further beatings. You get the point I'm making?
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, I don't know where that boy is now. And I only remember his surname is Idahosa. I don't remember his actual name. This thing happened in 1967. I wish I know where the boy lives. The man lives now. I would have gone to express my gratitude. He must have forgotten me, but I would have reminded him. I still kept it at the back of my mind. That is what I mean by saying that Nigerians, by nature, we are not tribalistic. When I was living in Benin City, who cares to know if you are an Igbo man? If I want to buy something from your shop as an Igbo man, if your price is more reasonable than that of a Benin man, I buy from you straight away.
Correct.
We let houses to Igbos in Benin City. Nobody cares. There was one very prominent Igbo transporter at 2nd East Circular Road, number 21 in those days. They call him Injikoka. He was one of the leading transporters in Benin City. His competitor was JBS, Jos Bazwaye and Sons, a Benin man. But he owns Injikoka, transport services, opposite D.N. Oronsaye's house. Those who are listening to me online will know where I'm talking about. D.N. Oronsaye's house is just a little after Ekiosa Market, before Uwa Junction. So anyway, the point I'm making is this man's business flourished. Nobody cares to know, because if you want to go to Koba Hill and Injikoka motor is going there, you want to go to Village Market, his price is better, they will patronize him and leave JBS. That was how Benin City was. So by nature, Nigeria is not a tribal society. It's the politicians who are creating the problems.
Thank you. What we would do is this, like I said, this topic, this statement Mr. James made, is credited to you, Mr. James, and we're gonna run a special broadcast on this case. It is a nice, powerful statement. Again, it's credited to you in this regard. Gentlemen, as we come to the end of the show, I would like to thank everyone who have participated here, and hope to see you tomorrow and Sunday. And Saturday, tomorrow, don't forget the ladies segment. There's a broadcast before the ladies segment, the usual politics broadcast. Then we'll have the ladies segment. Don't miss it. On Sunday, don't miss it. Don't miss October 1st. October 1st, we have to start planning ahead on this platform now. We're going to schedule a program for next year, December, if need be. God willing, we are alive. We're going to run that program. So,
can I make a last submission?
Go ahead, man of prestige.
Yeah. Everything Mr. James said and we said here is pretty much correct. But I kind of look at Nigeria differently because because if you look at Nigerian space, it's a place where statistically 1 + 1 is not 2. It's neither going to be 10 or 9 or minus 1. So it's never equal to what statistics come to be right. So it's going to be very difficult for us to actualize. We have to go back to the drawing board, see what we have gotten wrong.
Man of prestige.
Go from there.
Man of prestige. If you walk into an hospital today, you die. God forbid. If you walk into an hospital today, an emergency, do you care to know where the doctor is from?
No.
All you want to do is you need somebody to attend to you.
Yeah.
Now take that space to Nigeria hospital, as bad as it is today. Let's put it that way. Do they care to know? Would you care to know where the doctor is from? If it's Yoruba, Igbo?
No, I don't care. I want to be treated. I want to get well.
That is what Mr. James. That is what Mr. James is saying. The man who rescue him, or the young boy who rescue him, does not care where it comes from. It's the same color of blood that runs through our vein, and it's 100% right. But we have to look at all factors. Like I said, it's a solution-based we're going right now. This tribal and religion issue. So, gentlemen, again, I would like to thank you for joining this broadcast. To those of you in the comment section, and to those of you who have given their super chat, thank you very much for supporting this platform. And God willing, we shall see again. Mr. James, I'm gonna give you a shout tomorrow. God willing. So thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
Okay, goodbye.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Have you subscribed? Yes, you. Have you subscribed? You. Yeah, before you go, click. It's free. Click. Just that's it. Have you subscribed? You're laughing. Have you subscribed? Have you subscribed? Thank you. Hey, madam, thank you so much. I can see you. We have to get to 100,000 subscribers. By the end of the year, how are we going to do that if you don't subscribe? Yes, you're about to click off. Why? Have you subscribed? It's free. If you don't, ask your son, ask your daughter how to. Just one click. Thank you. I see you. Aha. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Hello, my people. LEMFI, the International Money Transfer Service, is here to provide you with a simple and efficient money transfer experience with no fees and the best rate in the industry. If you are in the US, UK, and Canada, LEMFI is here to serve you and help you transfer money to over 21 countries. In all ramifications, they are better than their competitors. We at the Dr. Damages Show are happy to partner with them to satisfy your needs. To that end, anyone who signs up with them using the referral code DOCTOR will get $30 cash back the first time you send $100 or more. From now until July 10th, 2024, LEMFI will enter your name into a raffle draw where you can win an iPhone, Apple Watch, MacBook, gift cards, and others. For an icing on the cake, the first 20 people to use Dr. Damage's code, Doctor, will get a signed copy of one of his books, This American Life Safe or Chimamanda, The Adventures of Little Mermaid's African Cousin.
Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland, with love and strength and faith.
Labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Hey, that's so.
Oh, yeah. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom. In freedom. In freedom. Peace and unity.
Arise, my people, arise, my people.
With love and strength and faith.
With all our hearts and minds we I'm about to go be down to from Warri to Lagos.
Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith.
The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Hey, that's so.
Oh, yeah. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom. In freedom. our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Hey, that's so. Oh, yeah. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria call obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom.